lift off here on Racing Post Live in association with Betfair. Another Saturday, but not just any weekend. It is the culmination of the British domestic flat season on the turf. Champions Day at Ascot. 6 beauties coming your way. 5 for us here on Racing Post Live. 1:25. We kick off with the stayers. Trushan on a recovery mission. You can get your tips in, guys. If you're new to this, welcome along. Dave Orton steering the ship for you. Delighted to be here on what is an absolute perler of a card for you at Ascot. Concentrating just at the home of flat racing for you then this afternoon. Get your tips in. You can do so on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Press that thumb button. Get up in the chat. Let's hear from you regulars out there today. If you're new, this is your chance to get a shout out. We've got a great time in between races. We will be looking at some really interesting 2023 angles for you. Looking back on the current flat season. Let us know your highlights. We're going to build an anti-post for charity, of course, this show is. Anti-post, lucky 15 as well with our panellists. We'll even be dialing onto course. The big hitter himself is there at Berkshire. Right. If you're watching on Facebook Lives, do say hello. Loving the Facebook community recently. And anything on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Here we go then. Who's with me? Here he is. Now, if you can't get excited about a card like today, James Millman, you're never going to be... You shouldn't. In fact, you shouldn't be here.
We ain't got any runners, so that's a slight problem. But it's good end to the season. They put their money up. Most of them are turning up and... looking forward to it.
That's about as excited as he gets, Millman. So enjoy it while it lasts. Kate Tracey giggling away in the middle there. Not on the buttons today. No, because Marc Hryhorskyj joins us back as well.
Yeah, I'm back. It's been a while. I was supposed to be on before, but obviously out of our control. The Queen passed away. But yeah, good to be back.
All right.
For Ascot today.
Keep him in check, Kate, will you?
Oh yeah, completely, exactly. That's my usual spot, isn't it?
You were disappointed, weren't you, when you came in this morning?
Gutted, yeah.
Couldn't get on
James and I didn't have to run. Didn't have to do 100
this feels like a
metres
real
sprint.
Betfair panel here today, doesn't it? OK, so Barry's on track. Like I say, we'll be dialing into him just before the first, all being well. He's going to give you a big lay of play today. It's been going so well this year for the charities. It's Injured Jockeys Fund in the month of October. If you're having a great year so far, month, whatever it is, day, maybe show them some love. It's an unbelievable course. And we'll be giving them some profit. A big fat check will be coming their way. Betfair at the end of the month. All changed, isn't it, pretty much, after this weekend. But let's concentrate on the flat. We've got the greatest horse, certainly on turf in the world, running today. It's Baaeed at 4 p.m. He will be signing off the show for us. Does he win? 4's on. Is it that easy? Graham Rodway in the paper today suggesting only one horse. Can we name him? Who hasn't previously run over a mile 2 that has won the Champion Stakes? Who was it? Come on.
Who hasn't previously run over a mile 2?
It is only...
Who won the Champions
No,
Stakes?
no, at the course, OK? So all the Champion Stakes winners, all right, so far since it's been at Ascot, had won over the mile 2 there.
Frankel.
It was, of course, Frankel. And I guess if there's going to be one horse that's going to do it...
The Rodway is just...
They're all milers, aren't they? But look, he's in stall 1. He's got a more testing finish. I spoke to David Jennings, who did What a Shout show yesterday. He said this is by far the toughest test that Baaeed has ever come across. Let's chat about this when we get a chance. But Marc Hryhorskyj will be training for Betfair in every race today that we do. You don't have to. But if you maybe want to just have a little slice of the action and get involved, there's a multi-offer, isn't there? Marc, take it away.
Yeah, we got money back. We've got £10. Place a bet on any multiples, you get the money back as a free bet. And obviously we've got an each way at lucky 15. We've got that on already. Try and get the prices as soon as possible. Obviously focusing on Ascot today, taking advantage of any extra places on offer. Went for Wordsworth at 28 to 1, 3 places. We've got Art Power at 9 to 2, 5 places instead of free on the Betfair Sportsbook. We've got Very Elegant, 4 places instead of free at 16 to 1, and then we've got the Revenant 4 to 1, 3 places in the free 20.
Hang on. What wins the first?
Yeah, I think this one's got a chance. It was a bit of an eye catch for me. I'd rather be on this one at 28s than be on Waterville. 7 to 2.
I know the jumpers are coming back soon, Marc.
Yeah,
but
no, listen,
I think you're going speed to stamina a little bit literally here, because this bloke will be jumping next season.
Listen, I think he was an eye catcher last time out in the same race as Waterville and not given an easy time out, running on strongly. I think 28 to 1's overpriced. He was 40s yesterday in the sports book, so there has been money for him. I think Waterville massively underpriced. He was 7 to 2. Far too short for me.
You're really keen to have a go at him, aren't you?
Yeah, well, listen, he's stepping up. It's a big step up in class here, going from handicap up to against Trushan, for example. I mean, Trushan won off, what, 120? at Newcastle.
Oh, I've heard this mentioned a few times to me in the last 24 hours.
7-2 was too short. He's probably around the right price now, around 11-2. But still, you want to be taking him on, in my opinion. I think Trushan's probably the one to beat, but for an each way angle, I think Wordsworth's overpriced at 28's, bigger price in the exchange.
Want me to comment on that one?
Silence. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. All right. Listen. Absolutely. Listen. And let's not listen. We're gonna have some banter today. I told all the panelists I'm coming for all their tips if they're not on mine, because it's that sort of day. It's like look. Oh God, I don't want to say it, but it's Champions weekend, so it's the C word anyway. But Cheltenham is yet again in the distance.
It's not far
all
away.
right. Yeah. So what I mean is, everyone, when it comes to Cheltenham, right, you have to take on horses that you love. Okay. Champions Day is like that. All right.
Cold-hearted killer.
Absolutely. Let's go for it. So listen, I think Wordsworth is a mental tip, but you have got a bit of a reputation for knocking him out the park.
Yeah,
so I'm going to, for once, get into my head that Wordsworth might be finally coming good on the big stage.
What, isn't each way lucky 15?
Yeah.
How many places have you got?
Right, you're not even contemplating a top 3.
Listen, come on, let's get some banter out there for that one. Marc or Oscar,
I hope it comes.
trying to get it out. Art Power, loads of people be fancying him. Very elegant. The Melbourne Cup winner, of course. She did touch evens on the exchange. We went to France on that Saturday of the art weekend, and I said, I think it was posted, it was in with me. I said, at one point, I got excited about her because I backed to that day, and he said, what are you talking about, man? She never looked like she was going to get better than 5th, but someone else out there agreed with me. They think she's coming back.
She's good price, 16's one.
She's got that a day form, hasn't she? And the Revenant, look, bang solid. He's been here, done it before. He's just so reliable, this chap, isn't he? To take on Inspiral. She'll be a lot of people's bankers out there, I reckon, as well. Let's hear from you then.
I think she's a massively. You've got to be taking her on at even money. Got to be taking her on. Even money, the fields. It's probably the bet of the day for me.
There's going to be a massive range of opinions then, basically, on today's show. We started a little bit earlier out there. No doubt you'll be coming in your droves. Let's hear from you if you are out there, of course. Neil Francis out there, Chris Tim's out there. Let's hear from you, community. You can get your shouts in. So much time today. All right, Marc's selection. I'll say it again. Wordsworth in the first, 125 to kick off 5 glorious races here. Do we have a snap today, Kate? You strong one. Don't give it away. Just how are you looking at today's card?
I've got an each way nap, if that counts. That was kind of the way that I looked at this card originally. I thought, oh God, this is great, but I've got no betting angles here. The more and more you delved into it, the more I thought, well, it's mainly each way plays that I have today. But there are so many betting opportunities. And I agree with Marc, though, as well, that if you're getting even money the field, laying in Spiral, you have so many chances to go to war with and to take her on. There are so many different ways you can play today's action. And that is definitely a bet that I would be seriously considering. But yeah, I'd say I've got my each way nap. But we've already mentioned a horse that if I had to have a straight nap then yeah, we've already mentioned him.
Nice, all right, okay, great. And we do get a little bit competitive here. We've got our Champions Day trophy, of course. William Buick, a big day for him. Benoit de la Sayette as well. Trainers' Championship, weirdly.
Yeah, that's
I don't know where I sit with this one.
No, it should be crowned on Champions Day along with everything else. Why is it going to be decided?
At least November handicap in a couple of weeks would have done, wouldn't it? Come on, you're sitting there very quietly.
Baaeed hasn't won yet.
The November handicap, you can't...
Well, it used to be when the jockeys were crowned, you know. So.
Oh, no, I wouldn't disagree. I suppose for the trainer's point of view, it is the whole calendar year. But say it's close between Charlie Appleby and William Haggas after today. The 3 5 grand maidens all through the winter. They've got a lot of firepower for those races. So it's going to be a little bit of a probably wait until end of December before we even find out.
Yeah, Paul Keeley in his weekly sort of bullet email that he does, his betting world, suggested that you can see why Charlie, who's had a marvellous time again in 2022, that he is slightly favourite over William, but William has got a lot of 2-year-olds, these more backward types to come out, certainly during the all-weather season, and it goes through to December.
I think it would mean more to the Haggas team, and in fact this is probably going to be their best ever chance, having had Baaeed, whereas the Appleby team every year they've got all these blue bloods coming in, whereas is Haggas going to get another Baaeed that can have so much prize money in the bank? So I think they'll be going all out, and you saw that in the Mile 6 handicaps 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Split them out, tried to get as much prize money as possible between the lots. I think the last 3 months, William Haggas has been thinking about that, whereas Charlie Appleby took 3 winners to America. banked a lot of prize money, but it wasn't coming into the UK pot.
The man continues to amaze, doesn't he? He has been one of the finds, certainly since I got into racing. It's hard to think of a better find for a racing operation.
Yeah, and what a way to have found it as well, kind of completely out of left field, completely out of nowhere, how we actually found him, or he found himself in this position.
Circumstances, right?
Yeah, but like, what a positive to come out of such a
he was lurking there
situation.
all along. Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
But do you also think at the same time, I know he sent those horses over to America, but the fact he's running modern games here.
And ADR.
And ADR. Do you think that is a little bit of getting a little bit nervous about the...
Yeah, I think that's
title?
just trying to ensure that he's giving him every chance.
So look, loads to talk about. We're not that long away from the first. Now I'm delighted to say it's a weekend of celebration. Let's absolutely do it. We've seen... Alpinista, how good was that in the Arc? Was that the highlight of the flat season? Is it still to come? Was it, of course, the Jubbmont at York? Where have you been, guys, this flat season? Let us know, small or big. We want to hear it today. Highlights of the flat season. We'll talk about it. We'll celebrate it all. Raining at Ascot, by the way. Matthew McCaffrey. Morning, folks. Art power for me today. Loads of love for this, Marc, I'm assuming, in the Champions Sprint.
Yeah, I think it's a fair price. Yeah, it's value in each way selection. It is quite competitive, but I think he's going to be bang there.
All right, OK. Chris Timms brings it back to the first. Chris, great to have you. All through the flat season, Chris has been with us. And he says, true chance to win, Kolsch train each way. Rock solid. I make that, Chris. All right, great stuff. Keep your socials coming in then. We're kicking off. Let's have some banter today. Let's have some fun. The leaves may be falling, but we've got an unbelievable jump season coming up. However, now we're going to just concentrate on this flat season. We've got the top, I think, 15 two-year-olds to talk about during the races. We're going to visit our favourite two-year-old. Each of the panellists has given us a favourite two-year-old so far from the season, and we're going to be talking about that in between races. You get your chance to do that as well. Let's talk about anti-post. Who already knows the Guineas winners? Is it that easy? I'm not so sure. There's some big markets out there at the moment. Let's just talk about that quickly, Marc. At the moment, it's around about 5 to 1-ish the field, everything, isn't there? There's no native trial, if you like, this year, is there?
There's no standout at the moment, but obviously that could change very quickly. But at the moment, there's no standout. I think it's 5 to 1 the field.
Is it a bit surprising that Chaldean's not seeing some more love after
Tens at the moment, yeah.
After the Dewhurst? I mean, just does nothing. He's done everything, hasn't he? Debut run, education, win, uncomplicated. Surely the Dewhurst winner deserves to be a bit shorter than he is at the anti-post betting at the moment. He was 12s going into it last week.
Yeah, that's the thing though, isn't it? Like the Dewhurst we see as, well, for me anyway, it's the best two-year-old race of the season. It's the thing that I look forward to. We discussed it earlier on in the year. What's your favourite two-year-old race? And the Dewhurst is definitely that for me. But this year, I, along with many others, felt it was a weakened renewal of it. And Chaldean, like you say, he's very straightforward. He's really likeable, but there was nothing about that performance that blew me away either. And so I can completely understand why the anti-post market is that lukewarm on him then for the 2000 Guineas, when you've had sort of the superstar with superstar performances in Little Big Bear and a Noble Style as well, who obviously we didn't get to see in that contest. And it just felt like the Dewhurst was lacking those stars that we got in the race last year.
Interesting. All right, Kate Tracey says maybe not then for Chaldean, but there'll be a range of opinions out there. Now, look, you can see, you can download our new app. Of course, best app in racing, just got a lot better. I know, guys, a lot of you out there can't stand it when we change everything. When we changed the website, the world nearly stopped turning. Okay, but I think we can all agree it was much for the best. And we're going to be adding to this. You can get free daily tips on all-star lineup. Look, it's easy to do. Just go on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Stay ahead of the field. We're going to be adding to it. Wait till you see what we've got lined up for it. Different class. Anyway, all right, so that's that, of course. A reminder, Injured Jockeys Fund, we'll be playing in every single race today. Marc is going for Wordsworth in the first. Let's start to get some tips coming in there from the panel. OK, I can see Andy Sim out there, says Eldarov. Now, 3-year-olds, I think, terrible record in this race, by the way. There's 2 of them in there. Waterville is one. The St Ledger winner, great to see the St Ledger winner having a go at this, 100%. But they have got a difficult record. Of course, he was the Queen's Vase winner as well. Anyone for Eldarov? Oh, the hand. I was going to say hands up. He knows the game. Telepathy again, Millman.
It does feel like we're in school, actually, doesn't it, with the 3 of us lined up in the front row here? Just, yeah,
I don't know about
that. I'll take your point about the 3-year-olds having a poor record. St Ledger wasn't a great race, but Trushan for me, since they ran him on quick ground, didn't look the same horse at Doncaster. Just got beaten by Coltrane, who was only the handicap winner at the Royal Meeting. So I'm a little bit negative about him and how keen is he going to be under Holly Doyle. Waterville, we discussed winning the Irish Desire, which off a light rate in 99. He's £9 worse off with Wordsworth for Southern lengths. So you could see him disappointing. Quick Thorn looked as though he'd gone over top and he'd beaten in France. And Shawlerman, not sure the ground's going to suit. So there's question marks against the whole field for me. And yes, you've got the 3-year-old negative record, but I'm going to stick with Elder off. And I thought he looked very good in the Queen's Vase. Bit disappointing in Longchamp, but back on track last time.
Okay, all right. So sticking with Rog, which would have been no bad thing, Roger Varians. They were absolutely knocking this final part of the flat season out. All right, Mark, let's get your single trade on then. We know what's going on in Lucky 15 today. It's Wordsworth.
Yeah, we've got Wordsworth in the each way Lucky. What we're going to do, we're going to place Lee Waterville here.
Whoa.
So hoping this one will probably be around even money mark odds on, but has been notably weak on the exchange and the sportsbook overnight. We're going to lay this for £25 stake, 2.3, liability 32.50. I just think it's a bit of a step up here, and there's some proper classy animals in this race. Maybe just get found out. Big step up for me.
You had to come to me while I was having a drink of water, didn't you, buffoons in the go? We've got Dan and Will out there.
You had to tug the thirst to perfection.
Any chance they can get to lay one on me, they will. All right, so we're taking a real Ballydoyle range of opinions. Not only are you thinking that their big hope is going to be an absolute flop, but you're thinking the flop that has been Wordsworth, and I think we can call him that.
Oh, he's odds on most of the time at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
the head carriage
I
on him
feel
and
for the horse
Where
because he
your
wants
fingers
4
burned
miles.
at the start of the year.
He's an Ida horse, isn't he? He's a Del Capardo Biche.
He might be in Joseph's care soon.
He might be. He might even be. I don't know. He could be doing the karting
From a
soon.
price perspective, I think Wordsworth is overpriced. I mean, we're looking at 7-2 for the 4 here. Good run on for a
His
place.
each way angle is not as
Not as muggy.
Crazy,
as it
isn't
might
it?
say the word muggy. You wanted to.
as you sound.
You call him Mark Muggy. The pilot is going to
would-
crash the ship in the first attempt.
We'll see what happens. He might bang
Yeah,
it
he
at
loves
50,
this because
you
he's
know?
like, let me just take it all in because, you know what I mean, sees the ball big. Mark, of course, one of the best traders that Betfair does have. Let's remember that. All right, Eldar off is a spotlight tip along with James. Kate Tracey.
Yeah, this was a race at the start I was going around in absolute circles with. I really was. And I sort of thought, I can't tell if Trushan is a brilliant bet or an absolutely appalling bet. I really was of both ends of the spectrum with him. But I agree with James, though, where I just wonder with him now, he didn't look that straightforward last time out. And of course, at Doncaster, the race conspired against him. They didn't go quick. The closing sectionals showed that they then sprinted and they were faster, and that the overall time for Eldaroff was faster.
There's a lot of chat about him not coming back this season.
Yeah.
Taking him out and giving him a rest.
Yeah, because he's been getting keener and keener in the early stages of his races. And then when he was asked to go and lengthen to go and win the race at Doncaster, he didn't half wander around then. And I wonder either if it was because he ran on the quicker ground than ideal at Goodwood on that previous start, if he had that in his mind. And I think Holly actually alluded to that after Doncaster in a few quotes. Or whether or not it was that old adage of carrying a top weight to success in a handicap, if that left a lasting mark on his brain thereafter, because he hasn't looked quite the same then in those 2 starts. But yeah, Goodwood again, the race conspired against him. I can forgive both of those, but at that price, I think he's worth taking on.
Okay.
So yeah, Coltrane, each way, surely an each way price to nothing then.
There's a bit more telepathy going on here. There's a bit more.
Bit more
It's
than
now
you
rubbing
think.
on Dave Orton, absolutely
We're
coming
spending
in.
enough time here, to be fair with
We
you.
are,
They're
we
bound
are.
to happen at some point.
I make this a 3-horse race, and I thought that Trushan, he's the hat-trick seeker. This is his playground, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, on this weekend in October.
Slightly quicker ground.
Listen, it's slightly quicker ground than normal, but listen, it's obviously a lot better. But at the prices, I thought Coltrane, considering he's also a Royal Ascot winner this season, he's turned himself inside out. He was a very good 3-year-old, one of Melrose. That probably took a bit out of him, didn't it, I think? Yeah. And he's come back brilliantly. Andrew Balding's just having a great season. He won duos, of course, and you know, it's just been a great time to be around the Balding stable if you are. And I just thought 10s was a silly price. Yeah. The other one is Quickthorn.
To bounce back on that tougher run.
That is the conundrum.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a hard race.
That is the
was.
conundrum.
Dear.
But he's got a lot. He's got quite a few of these. He's, you know, the handicap will let you know he is the second best horse in the race. Okay, Eldar obviously getting 9 back. What?
And the season last year.
Look, I think that he has run some blinding races this season, and I probably think it was the horrible ground that he couldn't stand
Did
in
he sulk
France.
not getting his head in front?
Possibly. Now we've heard from us. Shall we dial in to the course because the big hitter, we've let him go to Ascot, would you believe it? Barry, welcome along.
Hi Dave, how are you?
Fantastic. We've got a brilliant picture up of you, Barry, reminding us how long you've been in the game for. How is it there, Barry? I've seen a little bit of rain, Barry. It's not going to affect the ground too much, though, is it?
A couple of showers, Dave. There was a couple of showers yesterday as well, but no, there's plenty of give in the ground. But everyone knows they declared basically on this ground as well. No surprises, so everything's standing its ground as well, which is good to see. A real good atmosphere here at Ascot. Palpable. I think everyone's just waiting to see Baaeed. You don't have to have a bet in the race to enjoy it. A lot of people just hopefully cheering Baaeed on his swan song. And, there's a really, really decent atmosphere here in Ascot. It's great to be here.
Well, that's great to hear because I was watching, you might be surprised, Barry, I was watching some racing from Australia this morning and there were record crowds. There were record crowds at Randwick, and a lot been said about whether they sell this day out. It usually is a complete sellout. So great to hear there's a decent atmosphere building for 4 p.m. when Baaeed struts his stuff. Now, Barry, we had to have you on, man. Have you got a play and a lay for us today?
Yeah, my play is stay alert to the Phillies race. Now, I know it's a really, really difficult race to have a bet in. It's currently 9-2 the field at the moment. The favourite a little bit uneasily, Emily Upjohn, but stay alert. I backed her on the show last day, David Newbury. She got no sort of run and still won doing handsprings. So she's a filly on the up. I think there's going to be plenty of pace in the race. She's currently 10-1. She's a knockout each way bet. I'm also on the Revenant as well. I think he'll go close, and that's why I'm laying in spiral there. I took her on last when she won the Coronation here, and I'm taking her on again today. I think that was a poor race, the Coronation. Everything fell right for her eventually. I think she's readily opposable today at the 5-4 mark. So she's the lay. I want the Remnant to win the race, but stay alert's my main play each way in the Fillies and Mares.
Well, the panel will be agreeing with you on two of them. I'm on stay alert as well. We were in that day, I agree. I think she's overpriced on form. She shouldn't be that sort of price. And Marc, your able deputy, Hryhorskyj, is in here. He said that Inspiral is the big lay of the day as well. Now, we're also looking for next year, Barry. It's been such a good year. Despite the fact it's been such a dry summer, we've had some small fields at time. We have seen the likes of Baaeed and some brilliant performances. What about next year? We're going to build throughout the day, Barry, for charity, a lucky 15 anti-post. Have you got something we can throw in?
Yes, I do. Next year's Derby winner I have here. He's a deep impact colt out of Rhododendron, who's a multi-grade 1 winning filly from Coolmore. It's trained by Aidan O'Brien. Auguste Rodin won the champion juvenile on Irish Champions Weekend in Leopardstown. By deep impact. When he steps up to 1.5 miles, 10 furlongs, 1.5 miles next year, you're going to see some animal. This is the best 2-year-old in Aidan O'Brien's yard, bar none.
I love that, Barry. And, of course, we hope to see him maybe in the Vertem next week when I guess you'll hopefully be back with us as well. It's lovely to have you with us, Barry. Enjoy yourself and behave yourself today.
Have a great day, guys.
Brilliant to have the big hitter with us from Betfair. There you go then, guys. So the plays of the day are the Revenant. You'll be very happy to hear that, some of you. Stay alert in the filly and mares. I like that one.
About.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
I was being original. Yep.
Oh, so we're again
2 from 2 now.
There's a bit of telepathy going on, and Inspiral is his lay of the day, which Marc is kind of like, I don't know if you've been chatting to each other, but it's a very tradey way of looking at things.
I think even money the field's probably the bet of the day.
Even money the field is probably the bet of the day. Look at him, he's full of confidence.
Bullish.
Don't
Bullish
worry,
is the
Inspiral
word.
fans, we're going to knock it out the park. Right, great to have Barry with us. And wasn't it lovely to hear that there's such a good atmosphere building? Did you see Eddie Everest this morning?
I didn't know.
Nature Strip got run out of it in the fight. My God, he looked like he was 101 about a furlong out.
Criticise the ride at all?
Well, the best rider in the world, apparently. Ryan Moore would have been chucked in that. Yeah, James McDonald chased a brutal pace. You did see it then, obviously.
I just saw some of the social media comments.
Oh, well, he did. He tracked his old rival in, the 9-year-old whose name I forget now, and he just fell in the hole. Anyway, we must get back to Ascot. Me and Kate are on Coltrane. We think True Shan and Quickthorn are dangers. Marc is on Wordsworth and James on Eldorov. Good luck, everyone. The first then of 5 here on Racing Post Live today. Let's celebrate it. At Ascot we go, and the skies look like they're brightening up. Interesting, wasn't it, when I said to Barry, probably won't change the ground much, and he didn't. I don't know. He wasn't quick to agree with me there. Maybe we'll see. Have to look for the first time here. Quickthorn in front then.
Goes forward, between Quickthorn, we thought Trawlerman was going to go forward and Wordsworth to go forward, but Holly Doyle was pretty keen to get Trushan bang up there.
There's a right go for the lead on here, guys. And Trushan's lit up at the moment. We'll come to Marc in a second about that. Let's get the exchange market up, guys, if we can, in the gallery, rather than in Lucky 15, so we can see exactly what the market is doing as it goes along. Because I'll be very keen to see if Trushan is going to be drifting out at the moment. There we go.
2.76, BSB 2.5, around the 6 to 4.
All right.
Looks like Wordsworth could potentially be trying to set it up for a stablemate Waterville here.
Now, Quickthorn has got... So that first furlong, James, was all about attaining position, because I joked with someone yesterday, I said, if you want a pacemaker in the race, Wordsworth surely's not it.
Very prominent here.
Holly has been super aggressive earlier to get a position on Trushan. She's actually niggled him along for a good 10 strides, and then she's taken a right-hand down manoeuvre. She's going to get... I'll be surprised if she doesn't escape a suspension to get onto the rail. Now she's got cover on the rail in the box seat, but he is keen like he normally is.
I'm not being funny, but this is Champions Day, isn't it? And they're not gonna give each other anything. This is why Baaeed from stall 1 later could be interesting. But he's out doing what he loves best, Quickthorn at the moment. In contrast, Waterville doing what he did in the Irish Says.
Yeah.
And he's
Less horses in
he's
his
doing
way,
a
at least.
barracuda, isn't he?
Not travelling down the hill, is he?
He's not really looking like he's in love with the game. He was an horse in training cells, not sure if he still is. Stratum out the back, Eldar Eldarov and Coltrane out the back as well. All right then, we're around about the halfway stage, aren't we? Frankie Dettori on Trawlerman. He was always going to look for a section of the front. What are we thinking about the ground? The mud is flying, guys.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
On the round track in particular, it's going to be on the soft side, you'd say, without the rain that fell.
All right, if we had to call it now, James.
Trawlerman's going okay in second place at a treble-free run.
Is Holly going to get out here?
I was going to say, on the inside rail on the round course, that's why Frankie always gives himself half a length,
Elgar's
doesn't he,
not
on his inside?
travelling as well as I'd
Now,
like.
but
Train,
again,
hold
he's
him in.
on and off the bridle. But this was the case in the Queen's Vase, wasn't it? Of course, he came from miles back, didn't they? They obviously think he's quite a quick horse, because I said to Roger Varian after that, surely it's the St Ledger, and they said, well, we might think about the Arc, and they took him to France, and of course, we all know what happened there. Marc, what's the market saying?
2.48 Trushan, around 6 to 4. Waterville's still trading around 11 to 2 here. It hasn't really travelled. Yeah, I thought that one would have been double figures.
Well, we
Stratum
saw
looks
what happened in the
spicy,
Irish Says.
yeah.
Ride of the century, people were saying.
Oh, yeah, it was
Anyway,
ridiculous.
all right, we're on the far side. I'm happy with Coltrane now. He's coming a bit closer.
Oh, Coltrane.
Come on in,
Yeah.
Coltrane. All right, we're wiping
Hold
our
him in.
noses. We're getting ready. The turning in. This famous turning. Look at him launch. This is absolutely fantastic on Wordsworth. He's just giving him absolutely everything, isn't he? James Doyle.
Gonna go for
Here
an
comes
inside
Coltrane
run.
on the outside. Who was sniffing at Coltrane earlier, James Millman?
Oh,
I'll tell you what,
pushing him
Elmer
wide.
Randolph
Go
doesn't
away,
look good at
Wordsworth.
all. Trushan's looking
Hold
for the
him in,
run.
David.
Here comes the champion then. Is he going to do it? Coltrane's got to look at him at the minute.
Welcome in.
Come on,
Yeah.
Coltrane.
This is the Doncaster form. Quickthorn's gone. Wordsworth falling out the back of a telly.
Come on, Coltrane.
Waterville, the place lays in. The two are going out. And the old
Come on,
rivals.
Probert.
The 10 to 1 shot was Coltrane.
Come on,
Come on,
Coltrane.
dig deep,
Keep
Probert.
going.
What do you got?
Come on,
Can he outstay
Coltrane.
Trushan in his old patch? Trushan is not giving in.
Oh,
He goes to the
71
inside. This
Come
is
on,
an
Coltrane.
absolute tussle, isn't it? They're going really close. They're trying to correct themselves. Probert
Come on,
at the moment.
Coltrane.
At the moment, Dave Probert's got it. Trushan's coming though.
Trushan's coming back.
Looks like the
He's coming
champion's
back.
going to get his revenge.
has
It's
one.
going to be on the line. Coltrane's coming back. What a marvellous finish to the first race. Oh, Trushan has done it. Credit where it is due. He had to go to the depths there, and didn't he dig deep? Coltrane, that Doncaster form that everyone sniffed at, thought it was a bit funny. It was the absolute key, the Doncaster Cup at the St Ledger meeting. The pair have come clear. We got excited there. A barnstormer, Marc Hryhorskyj.
Coltrane as low as 1.33 for 1,000. Thought it potentially around about 5s on, 6s on. But Trushan, very, very game there. Could have shirked it. BSB 2.5 on the 6 to 4. Both the Aidan O'Brien runners quite disappointing. I think Wordsworth definitely outrun his odds. Waterville very disappointing. Like a fish out of water. Massive step up, is an easy place lay there. But yeah, I think Coltrane ran a solid race there. Was the obvious each way alternative, wasn't it?
10 to 1. I mean, I just don't get that price. It was madness. The two, Coltrane's a Royal Ascot winner. He loves this sort of ground. Kate, we're a tad deflated, aren't we? But you can't take anything away. The first horse to win this 3 years in a row. He's come back. A lot of people calling him attitude issues, saying, oh, well, I'm a bit disappointed at him. He could have shirked that.
Oh, he easily could have shirked that completely. I mean, the pair of those two, neither one has shirked the issue whatsoever there. Both of them, proper ding-dong battle. That was heavyweights of the Stayer division. We talk about highlights of the season. The Stayer division, for me, has just been out of this world. I think it's been my favourite division of this season. And the pair of those two just laying it down then. And like you say, there were questions that Trushan had to answer, especially with the fact he was rolling around last time out, though. And even Holly Doyle saying herself that she feels that running on the quicker ground may just have left a bit of a mark on him. Here, he was straight as a die there, and he had a really likeable contender, Coltrane, then putting it to him as well. But obviously with that Doncaster form coming to the fore, then better run race, truer run race, and Yeah, we got the finish the race deserved. Like I say, slightly deflated.
The pilot wants to jump in. I could see him there.
I think Trushan's only went as high as 3-1 for £100, but yeah, heads up, heads down there. Again, Trushan could have shirked it.
And Frizzy Red comes back again. Another one's been with us throughout this year. What a finish! That was brilliant. Again, if you can't get excited about that, even you in your silent,
Just want to watch
ghostly form, I could see your heart beating.
going into the bend. Big interference from Holly Doyle.
Now,
it might well be a steward.
Yeah, let's get another one up. Let's see, the Devo, all the regulars out there today, hoping the rest of the card is that good. My Lord, we could be in for... I've seen some incredible Champions Days. Could this be the best one yet? Devo, you might quite well be right. I see Stephen Loftus is chatting about Holly as well in the chat. I hate to see Holly win that. Dangerous riding the last twice, says Stephen. Yeah, let's have a little word about that.
Just going into that first bend, Holly has wiped out Coltrane to get her position. Now, it's so far out, it does make it very hard for the stewards to...
It was impossible.
If it was a nose, the result, it would have a strong chance of being reversed, in my opinion, because that was a serious manoeuvre from Holly. She's going to get quite a few days banned for that. And it has changed the results. So, yes, it is an interesting one.
There's a sliding door where you are a steward out there somewhere, isn't there? There is.
Well...
It's not a world I want to live in.
It wasn't what you want to see, to be honest. Like, there wasn't really a gap there, and Holly's made a gap to get her position, and that's made it between winning and losing.
Holly, when you meet Holly, right, she's even tinier than you think. She makes Millman look like Gulliver, right? And he's huge.
I was a tall flat jockey, Rahav, when I was riding.
And we were watching Andrew Balding there just get. I don't know. He's obviously a little bit gutted there, Andrew, isn't he? And he's short of words there. But Coltrane is again next year. It's always, isn't it? And what a tussle that was. The one thing I will say is Holly is a fierce competitor. She is, and she's tiny and she speaks quite meek, but she is absolutely fierce. And I can only imagine to get where she's had to get to. You would not mess with her at all. And I don't know. This is Champions Day, isn't it? Would you construe that as, because we've got to be very careful with the dangerous word, but it's obviously, do you think she's going to get a couple of days?
Yeah, it wasn't a manoeuvre that was on. But she's got her position on the inside, and then Coltrane's ended up 4 wide round the home bend.
Would you walk into shoes and go, so keen, I had to get, I was just trying to find cover, all that sort of thing?
You can't make interference. She's got no defence, because she's looked, the gap wasn't there, and she's gone anyway. But that's made a difference between winning and losing.
So it's careless.
Yeah.
You can't say it's dangerous because we just don't say that.
We've not had dangerous.
We just don't.
No, we don't have dangerous.
We should erase that word from the dictionary.
Yeah. Dangerous is with intent. There's no way of saying that's not with intent.
And horses have to get disqualified and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I could see a 5 days. I think it'd be
all right, one to watch. We'll look for the H14s. We've got our men on course, of course, this afternoon. We'll get all the best quotes for you as well. Who enjoyed that then? Keep them coming in then. There you go. You can see the Betfair SP. What was it in the end, Marc? 64?
Yeah, it's around 64, yeah, 2.51.
Well done. The first trade of the day is in. A place lay of the well-fancied Waterville.
Yeah.
I think they'll persevere with the sales now after that, don't you?
Basically, I think he ran.
He was never going. He probably had a very hard
I'll have a
race
little
in
look
the
and see.
I mean, he had to find £16, was it?
I think he ran to his mark.
Yeah, so he had to find £16 anyway, and he just never looked comfortable, did he? Never really going a yard throughout. That was just found out in group company, therefore.
Even when he was coming down the hill, he was actually shortening up on the exchange.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder why. What were we missing there?
Right,
he actually made Stratum look like he was quicker.
No, I said surely he's out yesterday.
No,
and they were like, well, let's see.
He's still in.
He is still there. Yeah, I was thinking he must come out after.
Lot 275.
Can you name Aidan O'Brien's winners of that race? Something I did yesterday, and I weighed up his challenge this year.
Order of St George, wasn't it?
Order of St George. That's the hard one because it's a little further back. Stradivarius got denied one year by Kew Gardens.
Yeah,
it tells you the sort of calibre, who's a St Ledger winner, of course, right? So it tells you the sort of calibre of the horse that they win the race with. Their proper stays, a Kyprios, if you like.
He's got a bad record at this meeting as well, hasn't he, then? The winner since before.
He's given up, really. He's not got many runners in the run this meeting.
Well, there was lots said about Charlie Appleby's challenge at Longchamp, wasn't there? We also need to talk, guys, about the Cheltenham Aintree factor. The Longchamp to Ascot factor.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, isn't it? And on tough ground, right? Like, there's no way that Alpinista was ever going to back up, was she? Like, or anything like that. But we have seen it successfully done before. I remember Sealaway, of course, ran in the Arc and then come and won the Champions League last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So last year,
there was a bizarre thing that we were taking into last year's Champions Day, wasn't it? It was over a certain distance if they then turned around quickly. It was bizarre. I think it was I can't remember now what it exactly was, but it was over a certain distance. You could chance them to turn around over another distance. You couldn't because of that quick turnaround, because of the background then. But general consensus was it is a tough thing to do. Adayar couldn't do it, so...
Adayar bouncing back, of course, stuffed in the race last year, as Kate mentioned, coming in off a totally different prep. Is he the one to follow home? Baaeed at 4 p.m, our final race. We're all building up then. Keep the socials coming in, guys, out there. I can see loads of chat about not just the day's racing. Steve McGarrett, welcome along, Steve. Fantastic racing. That's why it's called Champions Day. Absolutely. I think this is the best day, certainly at Ascot on the flat. I know that a lot of people will... Last week, Barry said, no. The Tuesday of Royal Ascot, absolutely superb. You're not
I agree with Barry.
More of a purist. You don't really probably enjoy yourself when you go racing, though. That's the problem. You know, I've been at Ascot and thoroughly enjoyed myself.
That could be a very true statement.
Absolutely. You'd be like... trying not to crack a smile, James, when he's there, or probably avoiding all your wannabe fans.
Well, just avoid people. I wouldn't go quite so far as fans.
You probably love lockdown racing then.
Lockdown racing was a pleasure.
Was it? Yeah, was it a dream?
No earners to deal with.
No people,
just talk to Jockey.
designated areas.
There we go.
Will Holly take a ban to win on Champions Day? Of course she would, says Toon 2020. Frizzy Red, sometimes you have to get dirty. There's loads of, absolutely, I can see lots of this. Well done, Chris Timms out there as well. You told us as well, didn't you, the forecast, amongst many other people, Trushan to beat Coltrane. So, well, I think we've had a moral victory there.
I will, happily.
Shall we somewhere
after
in
the
between?
last few weeks, I will
Pretend
happily.
he's not here like normal.
I know, but we've got James in the middle.
Pretend he's not here like normal, Kate, and we'll go somewhere in the middle. They're probably going to shout at me and tell me it's in front of the camera now. All right, great stuff. Those of you watching out there, do say hello. We know this is a big day. It's great to have you with us. Let us know where you are. A lot of people get the headphones in, take us onto the course with the phones as well, which is marvellous. And how do you spend Champions Day? Is this like Breeders' Cup is the one that I still do. I used to do a Grand National party. That was kind of what I was known for, you know. Sort of, we'd have a big Grand National party.
Yeah.
And obviously now I'm in here doing it, which is, you know,
still a party.
Still a party, absolutely, still a party. And but I do the Breeders' Cup if I can. I try and get away with it. So that Melbourne Cup's obviously I would try and do, but it's obviously
not many takers.
Not many takers. Yeah, you'd see it out with me, wouldn't you?
No.
Of course you would. There's an invitation.
Gonna go for about
It may never get taken up. But the Breeders' Cup I do. Do a lot of people do this on Champions Day? Get together? The pubs, I'm sure, will be back. I walked past a couple of old pubs there. Loads of people. I could see racing was on the television. They were getting ready for it nice and early.
Oh, that's good. That's really nice, yeah.
Let us know where you're watching it today. The panel would love to hear, so would I. All right, OK, what have we got coming up then? Of course, we go to the sprinters next, don't we? Of course, but let's maybe, until we build up to that and we'll get the market up, let's talk about some highlights of the flat season. The producers will tell me where they want to go with this, but we've got a list of the top 2-year-olds. I've asked you all for your top 2-year-old. I've asked you all for an anti-post tip as well. Barry's got first dibs, and he's gone for Auguste Rodin, who might well have made the 2-year-old list. Have we been doing this in 2 weeks' time? Because, of course, we've got the Vertem, the final domestic Group 1 of the season coming up at Doncaster next weekend. Also a small matter of Cheltenham coming back next weekend, isn't there? Kate's getting jiggy about that. And before we go on, so shall we get some highlights of 2-year-olds up? I mean, I'm happy to go first. I don't mind. You can get mine up if you like. Will, Dan, what are we doing out there with this? Highlights of the season. Oh, right. So, as in not the 2-year-olds at the moment. So just highlights of the season. All right. Well, all right. 2-year-olds later. All right. Protocol, Dave Orton. I'm getting excited here today.
Yeah.
Back in the room, they're telling me. All right, so I want to pull you up on this, Kate. You just said, and actually, this is apt. The staying division is now pretty much done with.
Yeah.
I think there's another race at Longchamp or something coming
Royal
up. The pre-Royal Oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, what's the
last
mare?
Group 1.
What's the, Princess Zoe, isn't it? That often tries to do that. So we'll see if Trushan goes and has a crack at that. He might do. Best race of the flat season. I think I know where you're going to go with this.
Yeah, Goodwood Cup. Has to be then, if we're talking about the stayers and we're talking about when we, like you say, sort of the question of best race and then best horse or best performance, two completely different entities. Best race, I mean, of course, the Job International then has to be bang up there as well. But
For the just drop your jaw moment.
Yeah, but that's it, for a drop your jaw moment of the entire season. But in terms of an actual race that we got, Goodwood Cup, where we had all of the lineup we wanted. Trushan took his chance then on quicker ground than ideal. Stradivarius, the old king. Of course, again, he was pretty unlucky then with how the race played out. Kyprios, the young pretender, coming to the fore. We had all of the storylines going into Goodwood, and we got the result as it transpired that the race deserved, I think, really. And of course, Coltrane in there as well, finishing fourth in it. So, yeah, it had everything.
Form.
Yeah, mighty form.
And something we don't often see, James, that a lot of people shout at the telly about, horses taking each other on.
That was the only time, wasn't it, really? Because Trushan and Stradivarius kept ducking each other last year. It was a cracking race. Just enjoyed it. It was one that it will be replayed for years to come, I think, especially if Kyprios goes on to be a Yates and
You
comes
got a
back
cliche in there then, didn't you? You loved it that much. RTV is doing wonders for you. I keep saying this. I keep saying this. I can't get him off screen these days. Can you every time at Gambler? Another afternoon of this.
I think hold the fort by himself as well at most of them.
I know, yeah, absolutely. Okay, all right. Let's get some more. I think the King's Stand for me was a big moment. Not just because Nature Strip won it, which is great to see, but it rid for me of the whole horrible pandemic, racing having to go through so much to keep the show on the road. He would have been with us 3 years in a row. You know, they only wanted to win. You know, his prize money is, if he'd have won the Everest today, which unfortunately didn't, for history's sake, he would have nearly usurped Winks, I think, and our prize money record in Australia, which is something off the charts. But they didn't come up for the prize money. They showed it could still be done, and they, you know, all the travel restrictions, all that sort of thing. They had to bring him up. Chris Waller, who had been to Royal Ascot before with Brazen Bow, and he thought that was a certainty, and they just, for whatever reason, it didn't win. That, for me, I think was so important, and it highlighted that Royal Ascot is the place to be still.
He doubled his prize money for coming fourth today. And what he did for winning.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
To see what he got for fourth. Oh, my word.
Yeah, so, I mean, is it the richest race in the world still, the Everest, or is it the Pegasus?
I think they've overtaken it, Saudi and
the Saudi Cup,
Yeah,
sorry, of course they have.
But still, 3.6 mil in UK to the winner today.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it won't all be roses today on the show, by the way. We'll talk about what we could be doing better next year, I'm sure. So horses taking each other on. Let's have some more of that, please. Marc Hryhorskyj, you've got a race of the season?
Maybe the commentary stakes. I think obviously the horse I'm going to put up there, the 2-year-old's Bradsell, definitely put a stamp on that race.
Did we have a financial involvement by any chance?
I was on debut when he hacked up, and I was on commentary stakes as well.
Save a little bit of that because we've got it coming up. But I mean, we've seen some very good horses in the commentary, haven't we? And again, I think the 2-year-olds, let's concentrate on that for which we will be looking at in depth individually before we go and have a look at this Champions Sprint at 2 o'clock. The 2-year-olds for me have been so important this season because so much has been said, and we've had eggs chucked at us, and we've been hit with a stick about losing our 3-year-olds that are rated 90 to 100 or 100, you know, up to group class. But the 2-year-olds have kept the big fields going, they've kept the interest going, and we've seen some right pearlers, haven't we?
Good crop of 2-year-olds.
Yes.
Let's hope they develop into the 3-year-olds, because we thought at the start of this year the 3-year-olds were strong. I did anyway, going to the 2,000 Guineas, and subsequent events have shown that the classic generation of this year hasn't really lived up to my expectations, and probably for quite a few. But yeah, the 2-year-olds, and each part of the season you get new ones emerging all the time as well, and loads of different yards involved.
But it's been important on days where we've had so many cards, haven't we? For, say for example, and we go to Newmarket's July course without wanting to really hit that with a stick, but especially for a training centre, 4 races, runner races,
struggle to get
7 card, and no 3 places each way races. And yet the 2-year-old races, because we do what we do so well with them, and it's so important for them coming through, it has enabled, I'm sure that's, if you look at it at the end of the year, people have been betting on 2-year-old races more than they ever have this year, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that's a right shout, isn't it? Because I was very much of agreement when this time last year, going into the winter, it was whether you were team Caribus or you were team Native Trail, and it was so exciting then for the 3-year-old generation, but I totally agree that I don't think it's transpired in the way that we necessarily hoped. Of course, we haven't seen Desert Crown then from the Derby for the rest of the season then, and we had the muddling nature of the Oaks, and it hasn't gone on from that at all. But yeah, the 2-year-olds this year look solid, and they've been able to hold their own. You know, the Platinum Queen to go to the Abbey, and I know the 2-year-old, all the weight she was getting.
Great campaign.
But to try her then at York as well prior to that, and she ran that brilliant race. You know, we've had the 2-year-olds that have shown themselves in older generations then as well. So yeah, I think that the 2-year-old division's had everything. I just hope that they aren't just 2-year-olds, which they do have the danger because some of them do look.
Let's live in the now for this. Let's live in the now. And again, next year, whatever happens with the 3-year-olds, if we are still part of that nursery, financial, global implications, at least we know the 2-year-olds are going to keep us, well, the fire burning, that's for sure. But there they are then. The top 2-year-old race ratings. Great graphic, this.
That's a cool
that
graphic,
the boys
isn't
have
it?
made up. Yeah, absolutely. I'll come to it in a second by Racing Post rating. But Maxime Leroy joins the show. Royal Scotsman, underrated 2-year-old. Could he be a poetic flair? He ran a monster race in the Dures, didn't he?
And he just lost that. If he got that earlier, he would have certainly really given Charlie a race.
Yeah, has he been, you know, he broke the Goodwood 2-year-old track record during the summer. No
just
mean
after
feat.
the Platinum Queen, wasn't it? She broke.
Just before she.
Had they not
it
gone
that
to
way
York,
around,
we
yeah.
would still be looking at him maybe in a different light. And it's great to see these horses that flock come back a little bit. And York's not for everyone, as we know. So Maxime, mate, you're right. He could yet be a Guineas horse. Absolutely. Horses that get beaten in the Dewhurst, it's not easy, is it? But it's a little bit like the Dante going to the Derby, that sort of thing. It can be done.
Yeah, Nostrum, I wouldn't rule him out from the GOS.
He's the other talking horse, isn't he?
Number
of course.
1 going into it from
Yeah.
Juddmonte.
Yeah, all right, okay. So Little Big Bear, we saw going down the list there. Look, there they all are. We have picked our favourite. Look, you can see Little Big Bear at one point was rated 1-1-12. Little Big Bear 1-2-2. That is a very lofty rating, James, isn't it?
Yes, and you could argue easily Taslik got injured in the race, so he's not run up to form. We didn't see him again afterwards, but he absolutely destroyed him over in Ireland. I was very impressed. He'd obviously kicked out and got a nail in his foot, so they were slightly unsure about whether he could run in that race, and subsequently it's caused him a few issues afterwards. He's a huge horse. How much he's going to train on from 2 to 3 is the question mark. From pure 2-year-old performance, as in a devastating campaign by him, I think.
Yeah, that was, I think, of individual performances, it was hard not to be, you know, absolutely windswept by that, wasn't it? It was magnificent.
Like Persian Force, you saw in the Brocklesby, and they'd really been talking about him as though he's going to give him a fight. And
Another great campaign, despite the fact he found his level.
Solid.
Great campaign.
He was
for
the
Lions.
yardstick, wasn't he? That you could measure all other.
And he lit it up early, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is what you want. The Brocklesby's come back into fashion a little bit, hasn't it?
Amo were keen to get a winner, because I was in here with you and the link, and then when he was back into even money, you knew that realistically he knew his job and he was going to be potentially very, very good.
Yeah.
He then bought the second. He just shows you how good Little Big Bear was back in the 6th of August. It's just a shame we didn't get to see him again in Middle Park and just see if the progress would have continued more for next year's kind of
There will be the chat of the winter, if you're not into jumps racing, will he come back? And will he prove to be as good? US Navy Flag was the other horse that Aidan had that hit 1-2-2 when he won. Well, he did the.
Took him a long time.
He did the
It was a
remarkable
busy
middle part
campaign.
GS double, didn't he?
Yeah.
But how much they take out and stuff like that. But have you got a 2-year-old that maybe hasn't quite hit that sort of level yet, but he's on that list and he's going on? Let's find out. Let's do some individual then, shall we? I'll tell you what, Mark, take it away. Bradsell, you've already teased your one.
Yeah, I do like a bit of Bradsell for Archie Watson.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at beautiful.
He did get injured in the Phoenix Stakes behind Little Big Bear. But I think, obviously, see how he comes back in a few appearances run next season. It could be a smart field.
The difficult thing about that graphic was not actually putting it together. It was getting your surname to fit, I believe.
It's problems, isn't it?
With an apostrophe S.
Just put him up as the drone partner next time, Dan. But there he is, Bradsell. Of course, lots was said about Bradsell, wasn't it? Because he sort of didn't make the sale price.
Yeah, so he's incorrect. He's got bad confirmation, so that's why nobody wanted to buy him.
Isn't it a marvellous story then, isn't it?
It is, but that's why he went wrong. So if you buy an incorrect horse, you are more likely to pick up injuries down the line, and that's why people overlook
They
him.
won a Coventry with him.
He did,
On a Juddmonte.
and he's a very, very good horse, but I wouldn't want to breed from him as a stallion
Was it
prospect.
Marshman? Was
Marshman
that the other
5 grand, and he hit a dip and then started wandering all over the place.
But they've got this. But you're taking a chance on a horse like that, and they go win a Coventry.
You can do, but those horses would then go to stud, but I wouldn't be buying any of
And the
their
way
odds
he
for him.
travelled, I mean, it was just a
dream.
brilliant highlight for Marc.
Like a dream, yeah. Especially when you're on at 9:04 on debut.
But we could be talking about a horse that we might have seen the best of, and James is levelling it out there quite right. And just this is celebration today, all right? It's not just about what's wrong with horses, all right?
I'm just saying the reality. Just
you-
bring you back down.
Yeah, I mean, you called him incorrect.
But he-
Right, well, I know that's the technical term, man, but we're celebrating these horses.
There's another one I like as well.
Rupert Millman for this day.
There's another one is Amy Murphy's Manhattan Jungle. It's got some smart French form, but needs a little cut in the ground, yeah. She's
Interesting.
very smart for Amy Murphy.
All right, now, that's in. All right, so one for the notebooks. James, please take it away because
The email came out and I just cheated and just put my own 2 euros.
Look,
Our own 2 euros.
So let's
in.
because I think I returned side, didn't I, on the group emails that came through because Graham Rodway, if you're watching. At the start of the season, your usual MO is to come here and bat everything off, isn't it? And we even you know, we don't often see you a lot through the winter. We're going to actually this winter, I think we are.
Looking forward to a bit of Cheltenham.
Bit of Cheltenham, all right, great stuff. But you came back, we haven't seen you for a little while. And I said, yeah, it was a great year last year. Yeah, he said. and he said to us in the office, don't you, if you actually said it in here on the show, he said, they're all rubbish, you know, blah, blah, blah. Poured cold water on it. But there was one 2-year-old that kept trolling us.
She ran on that day, on her debut, and she disappointed. She only finished 7th at Salisbury. QIPCO Mistress, she ended up winning St Hughes at Newbury back in August, got the black tie, and I got a picture. Perfect stuff. That was her
Dad's
debut.
recording this.
That was her second win, second start at Sandown. She beat Beautiful Eiling. That was a good day, 16-1. She landed there. Fortunately, she got a slight setback. She missed the Cornwallis, which was a real shame because she beat Rumstar at Sandown in the Dragon Stakes. That was 4th. He finished 2nd.
What did he go and do?
Won the Cornwallis. And Mayland C was behind us at Newbury. So she could have had an even better year. 96, she's ended. One of many Midland Park 2-year-olds that have done very well. Many have Annie Grays. He's doing the sire of the season, the first season sire, and his offspring are making loads of the sales this week.
She ran
Which
really
you've
well.
been at this week again, haven't you?
Yeah, I was at Newmarket. It's been busy. We tried to buy some of Annie Grays. We tried to buy her full sister, actually, and we bid 110, which would have been our most expensive horse. And then Auntie Stroud, I think, for Godolphin, bought 115. So
you
they had a
you-
slightly
you
bigger,
would have
a
been
bigger
getting ready
budget
again at that point,
than-
wouldn't you?
than
Need to
ours.
go up some
Do the
air then,
extra
James, did you?
I'd left them to
Whoever thought we'd have seen a 96 on there today? We've gone from 122 to 96. But
Well,
look, congratulations, we said it. It's been another.
put it
Can you
on.
please agree now that this has been a pretty good year for the Millman stable?
We've had 3 black type 2-year-olds, so it's better than I expected.
And you've been placing your horses very well. I assume
Yeah.
that Patrick's obviously very good at that.
Yeah, I can guarantee that he definitely is, and he doesn't enter the office. But
Love it.
He's working hard in the yard.
Yeah, all right, Patrick, we know where the brains of the operation are, don't worry. Okay, Devo says, Cuban Mistress has done me a few nice each-way favours, says Devo. There you
Actually,
are,
a
okay?
good year. Well, Lazoo took 20 grand off us in the Bath when that won first time, so that was annoying.
All right,
Good bit of
okay.
placing to bump into.
See the Sandown wins.
We shall save mine and Kate's for after this. Oh, yeah, and before we move on, we'll save mine and Kate's individual ones because we've got plenty of time in between the races. You well know. Now, this is interesting. I said to these guys before we came on, I was like, should Chaldine not be considered, you know, the champion 2-year-old? Because Maxime says Chaldine is a mid-May foal, which is, a lot of you know out there, the later the foal, the more physical progression there should be to come. He will progress massively at 3. You'd agree with that, Drone Pilot?
8-1 for the 2,000 guineas, if you like a bit of that, the Betfair Sportsbook.
No Dewhurst winners go on the course, don't we? Maxime, you might be right. There's loads of love for Chaldine. He's just, you know, a lot of people look for angles to get him beaten. It's been a road to the poorhouse. So really love that. We must now, though, hone in quickly on the trade for the 2 o'clock. It's, of course, the QIPCO Champions Sprint. What a well-subscribed race this is. Paul Keeley loves Kinross. Do you, Marc Hryhorskyj?
I'm not with Kinross in the 2 o'clock. We're paying 5 places instead of 3 here, so we definitely want to be taking advantage of that on the Betfair Sportsbook. A bit of money for the one I do like. Jamie Spencer's on board, Castle Star. Really like this one. I think more rain the better. We'll suit it. Probably running on strongly, stays further. It's half a length behind Perfect Power in the Juddmonte Stakes at Newmarket. It was hampered last time out behind Highfield Princess in the Group 1 at the Curragh. So this one will be running on. I think this one's massively overpriced. Spencer on board, sitting out the back, finish strongly. 5 places, absolute value, 22 to 1.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Trying to knock it out of the park again, aren't
Yeah, I
they?
think this one will go close.
Castle Star, who has a real following. And
Because they're watching him run, I think.
was DJ put him on today? I think, no, I'm not sure. Oh no, he's gone for Art Power today on our Irish connection.
If they go fast and he gets a clean run, I think he'll be bang there.
Yeah, all right, brilliant. Okay, all right. So Castle Star, who of course was a very, very good 2-year-old. They wanted to get him back for all. That's got the Commonwealth Cup. It hasn't happened, but I guess if you're looking for a flyer, he could well be one that's not quite shown his true lights as a 3-year-old thus far. 3-year-old's got good record in this. Kate Tracey.
Yeah, so this is a really tough race for me because 3 of my favourite flat horses are all contesting it. So it's like trying to choose between your favourite children then. Because Kim Ross has been the horse of the season for me. I love 7 furlong performers. And again, he should have everything in his favour. Creative Force, winner of this race last year. I adore this horse. And Perfect Power, my lovely little Commonwealth Cup lad. So I was trying to decide between the 3 of those. I don't think the ground is quite quick enough for Perfect Power.
Sure.
Kim Ross, I just love him over 7 furlongs. I know these conditions
Never won
are fine.
over 6.
No, that's
If
it. So
you're on your trends, which I know you are, that's
exactly.
that's a no-no.
Hence siding against. So the kind of default selection for the win is Creative Force. Now, I still don't know. I was trying to trawl through all quotes to see why we haven't seen him for 98 days. But I'm hoping that this has just been the target for him. And for all that, at the start of his career, you were wondering whether or not he was going to cope with a softer ground when he first faced that at Newbury. And he coped with it well. I actually now think he is a horse that prefers softer conditions. Back over this course and distance should see him to a good effect. All conditions should be in his favour. My only concern is still 13 of 18, where we know in this race, low draws are seen to best effect. Last year, first 5 home, drawn 5, 2, 4, 29. 20 and 9. In the last 6 years, only 1 horse has won from a double figure draw. That was Santa Marley in 2018. So, bit of a concern, therefore, for stall 13. And that's because of the sun at Ascot. This time of year, when it comes over, the shadow of the grandstand moves in line that it favours the far side. It dries out that side quicker.
And whether we believe that or not, the jockeys certainly do.
Yeah, exactly. So if the jockeys believe it, they're going to go there.
Correct.
So you follow that anyway. So yeah, Creative Force for me. But for one, when I was looking at the low draws, starting with the low draws, working my way backwards, 150 to 1, double or bubble, I wouldn't dismiss her at a huge price. Huge price. I think she's much better over 6 furlongs than the 7. She's run over on her last 2 starts. I think she's a talented mare. Anyway, and from her low draw, I still think the ground's probably on the softer side for her, but 150 to 1, I honestly would have a few quid each way.
It's 14 to 1 for the 5. Place bet only. It's a big price, especially if you've got the draw bias.
Good
We might have to
Giving you a carrot there. I love it when Hryhorskyj does this.
We might have to have a wee bit on. Yeah, we'll have a wee bit on.
Come on. This is a charity day.
Why not?
He's not here. He's at Ascot. We can do what we want.
We'll have 10 on at 14.5, okay, for the 5.
With 5
okay.
places.
Oh, I love it.
It's a bit of value, isn't
The
it?
first trade, of
thanks
course,
for
of the
supporting
day
me.
went in for Marc Hryhorskyj. Place lay on Waterville, wasn't it?
Yeah, Waterville.
Was Waterville?
Tailed off, yeah.
Never
We
go
on.
on.
Call it Louisville or something like that. But all right, okay, we're going down the tips. Let's hear from you out there, Kate, Creative Force. Who's surprised he's not fab for this? James Millman.
I'm going to go for draw angle. Like Kate made a valid case for the last few years, it has been the low numbers. I don't know if it's been quite so sunny there today. We saw rain in our pictures when we first went to Ascot. Kings Lynn, loads of form at the track. He's still 2. He's the lower. Because they are big prices of the really low drawn ones. I just thought he might be an each way contender again. You've got up to 5 places on offer.
To give David Probert a deserved fillip.
Yeah.
4 to 1 for the 5. Should we have a wee bit on as well?
He's lost his mind.
I love it.
This is the charity celebration day. It's Christmas here all of a sudden.
We'll back it. We'll have it
Last
on
day
as
of the
well.
season, last day of school.
Barry
and all
loves
that.
Kings Lynn as well, but he did say after the last day when he ran there, was it behind Rohan? Was it over the 5? I can't remember.
Malacan, John Ryan's horse.
Yeah, so that was over the
Should have been
5, the
second.
Rouse Stakes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's the one before that?
He ran a run.
Bengoff Stakes.
No, the Bengoff, that Rohan
Yes.
one later on in the card.
There's a
Yeah.
link, you see, coming here.
Yeah.
There's a
With
link
your
coming here.
times?
There's a link coming here.
Double or bubble starting to shorten up a bit on the
This-
Betfair Exchange now.
This,
People are on, yeah.
Really?
I think this is the bet of the day, you know, coming up
Rohan?
here. Yeah. I think Rohan, Coltrane was nearly an app for me yesterday
Nearly
when
an
I was
app?
going through it. Nearly an app. It
So
wasn't.
glad he got beat.
I know, of course you are. But Rohan, we did the show when he won. I think the money's coming from him. They're queuing for this. Mr. Ascot, this is Rohan.
He was impressive last time.
He just looked like a horse that was in such a good place, didn't he? Curbs sticks on Adam Kirby. He wound him through horses. This is a horse that's having his 8th start of the season. He just qualifies on the trends, therefore. No horses have more than 7 starts and won this race before. But he's also, we know from his 3-year-old season, that thrives on racing. The back-to-back Wokingham winner. For me, everything's right. I love him. Stall 6 as well.
Very strong. He was matched at 8.4 at the money. They're queuing up to back this one. Rohan.
Let's get a social in. Tom Barris. He's interesting, Brad the Brief, Tom, isn't he? Loves cutting the ground. It's been good form this season. Yeah, 2 from 2. It's just whether his form is quite up to this level. What do we want here? Do we want, a horse that's got top-level form? I think that's probably what we do. I think the trends would show Commonwealth Cup is a good one. July Cup, of course. Maybe the Sprint Cup. So he's missed a few dances, hasn't he? Fresh has been put up by some judges.
Which is
today.
again that low draw angle back at Ascot where does so well. But
I just wonder what happened last time. Gareth is another one that could be, could see him potentially.
Yeah, a few people have talked about Gareth, that he is.
Naval Crown, is he overlooked? He's got, he's got the form there, hasn't he? Of course.
A lot of these low numbers are big prices. Like Fresh is 10-1 for the 5. Big price.
There are the tips then, down the side. Great to have you watching. Dave Orton, if you're just joining us, is with James Millman, Kate Tracey, and the pilot himself that is Marc Hryhorskyj, deputising for Barry Orr. They're going in. This is going to be exciting, guys. Where will they go is the question.
Brad the Brief getting a bit upset in the gates.
Brad the Brief a bit upset, says James. Right, here they're all in, guys. Get ready for the call. We know some of you don't have pictures, and away we go. Good luck whichever way you did decide to play. Unsurprisingly, guys, you're going to have a difference of opinion here. What's this in the blue? Naval Crown doing what he did. Did he do this at Ascot? He did, didn't he? Of course, when he came good. But on the far side, is it Go Bears Go?
Yeah, and Brad the Brief 1-2. Probably stronger pace on the far side.
Well, that would be good for Art Power, who ran a big race in this last year when he was a bit keen. I think he's better settled.
A little bit keen, but he's tracking our leader in nice place.
What about on the near side? Are you thinking, if I'm on Kinross, I want a bit of a more pace to aim at?
Possibly, but he's travelling well. Back to 6, Kinross. You wouldn't be disappointed. He's actually a little bit in the keen side, Kinross.
Kings Lynn being ridden cold for James Millman on the far side.
Get those 5 places, Mr. Probert.
OK, I'll tell you what, Rohan's being ridden like he's an absolute good thing by Adam Kirby. Has he left it too late? We're getting to the business end, then they don't want to know the stand side, that's for sure. Creative Force and his old rival then on the near side. Come on, Rohan! Here goes, he's winding up now. Art Power going from the near side. I think the near side group have got it. Rohan's left it too late, isn't he, on the far side? Adam Kirby's absolutely powering, but he's down the knees at Kinross. Kills is going to be absolutely swinging from the rafters here. Rohan's flying on the far side, all too late. Kinross has taken this apart. Just the best horse in the race, Kills said in his preview. Of course, he beat Run to Freedom there. Wow, it was high draws. Would you Adam and Eve it in the champion sprint? Kinross comes from the foray. We wondered what the break would be from Longshot to Ascot. Rafe Beckett, take a bow. The campaigning in this horse, he was stuffed in the race last year. We thought he was a 7-furlong specialist. He's just the best horse in the race. If you read the Saturday Sizzlers from Keels, looks like Creative Brief has got 3rd. Rohan, best of the far side. He's just given that a bit too much to do, Curbs. He was in 4th. The Dreams come back as she often does. Tenor Prisms there as well. Some flops in the race as well. Marc Hryhorskyj, the story of it.
Yeah, I think Kinross, easy winner. Frankie Dettori went as high as around 9-1, running for small money. But yeah, it looked all over at the furlong pole, didn't it? I think Rohan did have too much to do. Kirby was travelling very well. See how low this one went. This one's went as low as, 4.9. BSP of 6.24, so did bet this one late on. I think Castle Star, my selection, distress signals were out very quick on that one. It just didn't run on at all. But yeah, good winner, Kinross there, Frankie Dettori, Ralph Beckett, closed up.
And was he fav?
Yeah, he went off 5s, 4.57 to 2.
So you know where I'm going with this, right? 2 races.
Yeah, just keep it simple, isn't it?
2 favs, which can happen on Champions Day when the ground's not too bad. I remember going when Found won, the QE2, was it? I remember that day, and the Tin Man won. That's a great name for you when he won this. We nearly went through the card. It was insane. And all the boxes were filled, corks going everywhere. This is a great day, the best day at Ascot.
Yeah, if you say so.
If you want to go racing, enjoy yourself.
That day, day 1, Queen Anne Day.
It's not what I want to see, Dave. A lot of favourites winning a special charm. That's not what I want to see, especially if I'm in the office.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've got it all to come this winter, but that was exciting, wasn't it? And we've had 2 really, really classy races. Frankie, of course, that's what we want to see, isn't it, for the game? Naval Crown has done what he probably was there to do for Creative Force. You just likes a little bit of pace, didn't he, on the business end?
Yeah, and I mean, this was his first start. I can't have that this was completely intentional to have had him off for quite that long. I think he's run another solid race back in his preferred conditions. But yeah, I mean, two of my favourite children, I'm going to call them now, from the flat sphere, first and third. Then I'll take that. But I'm annoyed at myself for not having more faith in Kim Ross back in trip over 6 furlongs. We talk about Ascot, form over further, coming back in trip. It's just it's a cliche in itself to side with, but. Oh, what a bit of training, though, by Rafe Beckett with this lad. Oh, my word.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just wonder whether something might be quick for him. He didn't look like he had the draw. But listen, guys, he's blown that apart, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do with this guy now? Marc Chan, isn't it, that owns it?
Well, the problem is because he wants soft ground, all the international races generally out of his ballpark because it's going to be too quick a ground.
And he's been on the go, isn't he?
Rafe every single
Come
year.
back as a 6-year-old. He's gelding, of course.
Gelding,
He's
yeah.
8-9.
Kingman.
Keep on going.
I remember the damn Kaylee House. She definitely wanted a bit further, didn't she?
She was a middle distance.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. So Rafe Beckett. Yeah, let's maybe have a word about Rafe. And Irish Derby.
Cracking season with the older horses, but what's most exciting, I think, for that yard, you look at all the novice races that he's
Mr. Salisbury coming out here. Won the first 3 the other day there, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had 1-2 in one of them as well. And that's a cracking sign for the yard for next year, all these nice types going forward. And he buys proper 3-year-old types as well. So the fact that they're doing so well now, I think he can build on what's been a really good season. And like I say, talking about William Haggis, his level of horses increased every year. Rafe Beckett's team are starting to increase year on year as well. Now the bigger owners are also starting to flock there.
Where did Run to Freedom come from then? That was a monster run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For Henry
Huge
Candy,
for
obviously.
Henry
He's
Candy.
been waiting for that soft ground most of the year.
Beaten by Rohan last time. No, I mean, no real excuses last time. I don't know, did it want the ground or something like that? I'm thinking about the overall form of the race. In fact, his best form was previously on fast ground as well. So it wobble your head for King's Lynn, never go there again. You're with Barry now.
He ran perfectly
You
fine.
can't say he ran as you expected him to because you tipped it.
It was 5th on his side. So I was going for 5 places.
The old this side, save face,
That old
eh?
adage.
The draw was not as we expected.
No.
The high numbers were the ones that
Do
came
you
out on
think
top.
they went hard enough on that far side? We talked about sort of in the early stages of the race, and we saw the far side and that
Go
they were
Bears Go,
actually
wasn't it?
keener,
Yeah, Go Bears
if
Go.
anything, then on this side. Go Bears Go was making it then on the far side, and they have gone pretty hard. And then have they judged the pace that bit better down this sun side more so than anything else, or
Going to look at the
because
going
you look
stick
at
at
where
Ascot.
those front three from the far side who were bang up there with the
They've
pace
all
forcing the
stopped.
issue, they've all stopped and they finished further back.
Adam Kirby and Rohan had to just ride what was in front of him.
Yeah.
Again, he's won a massive race, hasn't
Yeah.
he?
He's
And
won
then
his
he's gone
side
through.
perfectly.
And he was ridden like it was Frankel, wasn't
We're
he?
lucky always that you Woken and Ryan Renault exactly the same.
A lot of people knocked his win in the Wokenham because he got that what we thought was the important rail there, and Ryan just brilliant ride. But he's quickly become one of my favourite horses out there.
Rohan.
Just because
Yeah.
remember that all-weather campaign, 2-year-old, 3-year-old.
Cracking 20 grand buy from George Scott Yard.
And it's put Dave Evans, one of the characters of the game, back up in the spotlight, which is marvellous. And we're celebrating these horses today. Let's hope you are out there as well. There is then the final result. Kinross beats Run to Freedom. Who had that as a place? Creative Force for Kate, myself, Rohan as well. Take Run to Freedom out there. It's pretty much non-shock result, isn't it?
Yeah.
So fair play, Henry Candy. You've probably had your faith justified in that horse. haven't you?
He's always had a lot of faith in him. I interviewed him after Salisbury when he did win a free winner conditions race on firm ground. He's just been hoping for soft ground all year and he's not got it.
What happened to Twilight Calls? Did he have an injury or something? I haven't seen him.
Yeah,
for
he went
ages,
wrong,
has
didn't he, sadly, after,
okay. Will we see him again?
I don't know the answer to that one actually.
right.
Potentially could be a stallion career. So,
I'll try and get that. Yeah, well, you would think so with Shively Park, wouldn't you?
so I possibly not.
I'm just going to look at the going stick because obviously we're
Because
coming off air.
Dream wasn't that far away from the principals on the high numbers. There was only Southern that raced on that side.
It's not the biggest surprise that she's run well though, because she loves soft ground and she likes the straight
Ascot.
track.
But again, she was 8 lengths behind Rohan. We're talking about Run to Freedom was 2 lengths behind him. They were 4th and 11th respectively behind Rohan last time in the Rose Stakes. So
Yeah.
in the end it was you wanted to be high, and that's where it hasn't been. in recent years.
Implications potentially for the Bell model when we're off
Yes,
air, of course,
it
of 440.
Could change your way of
Because
thinking.
again, 7
Yeah.
of the last 8 have been on 11 or under. So only what was it, Escobar from 21,
Nicely
3
done.
years ago.
Nicely done.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
got
just,
there.
I would just wonder though with that, because as I say, I'm just sort of factoring in the fact that I think that I'm going to judge that race on seeing it as there were two sort of separate pace races. Yeah. In that, I think that it was better judged pace-wise more towards the centre. I was going to say stand side, they weren't stand side. The centre of the track than the far side. They seem to be going lickety-split to try and take each other on for the lead. So I'm just going to be taking it with a slight pinch of salt for now, though, with that draw, that they've judged it, I think, a bit better.
Okay, so on the straight track, it is 7.3, and it's, I think they've got that reading all across the track by the look of it, because usually they give us near side, centre and far side, but I can just see 7.3 there. So
Baaeed was 8.4 for the Balmoral later on.
that's the buzzer, isn't it?
19, yeah, for William Hryhorskyj, yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to William, as hopefully a lot of you would have seen yesterday. He gave us a great interview. He's been fantastic with us this season, and we've still got Baaeed to come up. But I said, you're going all out for the Training Champions because you just got the 4 in the Balmoral, and he went, yeah, only one of them's well drawn. So hopefully that will be buoying them now, I would imagine. Look out for Sweet Believer. And well, Baaeed certainly is the one that's got the class edge. Tom Marc gets on, and he admitted they ran too soon back after Epsom in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, and it was just a sort of get a back on track run last time. So she got the class edge there, and she won't mind the ground.
Accidental agent drawn 18, 36 pot on the exchange.
This accidental
Talking
agent,
about
Dan
accidental
Walsh
agents,
and the
so
studios all
many.
over it.
Yeah.
Again, it's your favourites, isn't it, today? This is what I mean. It's got that festival vibe about it this day, so everyone loves it. We all know pretty much every single runner and all about them today. It's a great thing about this card today.
I think the most obvious favourite could be Vulnerable though, but we'll get to that one later.
And we will get to that one because we've got the Phillies and Mares coming up next, of course. And you can see on the exchange market there, another reminder there, if you need to download the new app, you just get your phone, go up to the screen right now, and you can do that with that QR code. It is there. Okay, see loads of socials coming through as well. We'll start building them up again.
Dave, I thought she'd be a bit smaller. Emily Upjohn, she's 5.7 or 92. I was hoping she'd be around the 94 mark. I think one you want to take on, but when it gets to the stage where you really want to be laying her, 2.6 in the place market, is the value gone?
What, Emily Upjohn?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, but, before we get to that, a reminder that next weekend we'll be covering the Vertemp Futurity. But on Monday, it's back. The big jump off. Your unmissable 72-page guide of the 22-23 jump season is the free put out in the Racing Post on Monday. And it is unquestionably one of our most popular features that we do all year round. Tom Park and Andrew Pennington have been editing it, and Parky, as you know, on this show, loads of you know about him out there, put loads of love into it. Keely's done loads in it, Tom Segal's done loads in it. I've even done something in it, would you believe? And we'll also be doing another video for you, another video preview of the big jump off coming your way. I imagine around about 6 p.m. on Monday. Do not miss that. We've got all the best interviews coming away. I'm not going to let it go. We've got 3 top trainers telling us about their strings. We've got Keels in the studio. We're hoping to have Tom Segal with us as well. So look, it's going to be marvellous stuff. We're going to be getting horses to follow from people all over the country as well. So don't miss that. Big day for us here on Monday. And the jumpers, they're about to come back up. So if tans may be fading, you're crying about the fact that the leaves are falling off the trees and the weather goes. It's been a glorious year, hasn't it? But the jumpers are coming back out. All right. Would you like then to take it away with Emily Upjohn?
Yeah, we can. We'll have a look at this market here. Emily Upjohn's 5.6, around the 9-2 mark. This is one that I wanted to take on in the place market. She was a lot shorter on the sports book. She was around the 9-4 mark last night. She's notably weak. I think Frankie on board is dictating the price. I think this one could potentially go shorter as well, but it's a big step down in grade for Emily Upjohn from the King George. I just think she's very disappointing the way she pulled. She beat a long way out. I think this is a decent race as well, and obviously we've got the French runner running for us here, very very elegant, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to showcase the Betfair Exchange capabilities. I did want this one to be a little bit short, around 6-4. I was hoping to lay this one around even money, potentially 1.9. But we're going to lay this one similar to Waterville, of a £25 stake, 37.5 liability. Again, I was hoping she'd be a little bit shorter. Obviously, I can't dictate the market. But yeah, I think she could be vulnerable here. I think this is a decent race, and definitely put off after that run last time out.
Okay, so are we all agreed that,
I agree completely with
that
that.
Emily Upjohn is a dreadful favourite?
Well, the price is becoming about right, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the question mark, because
God, it's Champions Day. Ramp up your adjectives. I just said dreadful.
Ramp up your
Woeful.
9 to 4, you'd be all over that and laying that in the win.
Abhorrent.
You'd be all over that.
Is the only upjohn we saw at the start of the season back?
Disgusting. Criminal.
It was a criminal effort in the King Georgia, wasn't it?
There we go.
She did not travel a yard, and
First time hood. Now I know that Mimkiu, a horse I do quite like in this, she's one of two that I back. I know that wears a hood, but she's proven herself in the hood. The fact that they're sticking this on, what was thought to be their top 3-year-old, certainly at some point.
he does have a cracking. Well, Team Gosden have a brilliant record with the
strike rate
hoods.
for 3-year-old fillies.
I prefer the other Gosden
First
runner
time
here. I think 10 to 1's a massive price. I mean, Emily Upjohn, she's either going to hack up or she's going to be tailed off. And
Do
you're
we
taking a
think the
chance
hood's going to work though on a horse that
For this
pulled that
yard?
hard last time out, and he's coming back off a break fresh?
But the trends don't lie. The stats don't lie behind the Gosden yard since Daly joined, obviously the dual license. Then it's almost a 40% strike rate that they're hitting with first-time hoods with their runners, and then for 3-year-old fillies, it's about a 33% strike rate that they're getting for first time out, and that was shown by Mimikyu last time out in the first-time hood as well. So, I mean, you've literally got a horse in this race that gives further credence to that stat. So yeah, that is a definite positive for her. But like you say, it kind of goes to show that last time out, it wasn't just the travel restrictions. In fact, it was Plan B then, why she couldn't then go over to Ireland, and they just drew a line through it. It's the fact she's gonna-
That's mental. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Flat memories, of course. We're going over them, aren't we? Emily Upjohn, the flock of seagulls on it, or something.
Yeah,
Stop them
something
from
to a
taking
bird.
off.
Yeah.
You thought it was a conspiracy to go and get the fillies allowance, didn't you?
It's like at Stansted Airport and couldn't go anywhere.
Magical Lagoon prospered from that, of course, for Jesse in the Irish Oaks.
Wasn't the strongest Irish Oaks.
I mentioned conspiracy theory there, and the drone pilot got really lit up. He wanted to go David Coleman deep there, didn't you? He wanted to.
People run anti-post and they're getting upset about, some
Oh, is
conspiracy,
that absolutely? The conspiracies are abound. Some great comments out there. Frizzy, I saw your one out there. I don't think we can fit it in, believe it or not, into the box. But maybe I'll read it out for you. Frizzy Red says, I wonder if Frankie bottomed Emily Upjohn in the Oaks, trying to make up so much ground.
I think there was a
after
quote
she blew the start.
from Frankie on the interviews. Long time off, horrible draw. Just hope she runs a nice race. It was a tough choice between her and Mimikyu.
And yet here we are looking at the Fav. So Goz obviously has a great record in this race. Free Win would have been a big play. He's won it twice, John, of course, a star catcher. Oh, it was a good day. I was there that day. And Journey, of course, is just a sister to Mimikyu, Journey. There often are
The
from that Strawberry
families
family,
are pretty
aren't
strong, aren't they?
Shortening up on the exchange.
She's one I like.
Emily
And she's
Upjohn.
in stall 1, so she's going to get a ground saver. But before, look, we've got plenty of time for this. It's 2:40. We've got loads of time. So get your selections in. We'll keep coming up. We know what Marc's trade is. Remind us again before we go off piste.
Got a place lay on Emily Upjohn, but she is shortening up in the win market at the moment at 5.2 around the 4 to 1 mark. But again, I think it's going to go two ways. She's either going to bowl up or she's going to be out the free. I think that's her tailed off.
Hearing that Breeders' Cup Mile might be a possible.
For Kinross, stepping
Yeah.
them up on a quicker ground.
Yeah, hearing that might be possible for Kinross. If you are a Kinross fan, they might try and strike while the iron's hot and go over to Keeneland.
Yeah.
One that could
Sharp
be
track, isn't
overpriced.
it, Keeneland?
It's Thunder Kiss here for Gerald Lyons. Trainer has a terrible record sending them over though in the UK. That'd be my only concern. He's a 55 poke on the Betfair Exchange.
It's gone from bad to worse. He's not even got his top jockey on it. I mean,
Gary Carr?
he's got nightmares of Westover so much. Do you think? And he's not on him anyway. So
He
Gary
just
Carr.
listened to everyone's quotes that he hadn't got a winner at Ascot.
I'm talking
yet,
about
had
Colin
he?
Keane,
Yeah, I
of
know,
course.
yeah, Colin Keane when
Yeah.
when
I
people
bet he's
were
got a
arguing
full
that he
back
had
home today.
I think he's a bit tougher than that mentally, isn't he? But yeah, of course, there's a big card at Leopardstown, of course, over there.
Yeah, full.
All right. Emily Upjohn, Marc selection, place lay. The first one, Waterville, went in. Okay, so if you want to beat with a deputy today, go for it. Right, let's talk about top 2-year-olds again. Let's go back to it. We've been talking about our favourite 2-year-olds of the year because this is the division that's been the most important for us, really, this season. And what they're going to do, we're going to all think back to these great races, whatever they are. Kate, what was yours?
What was that, sorry? For?
Top 2-year-old.
Oh, top 2-year-old.
Who did you pull up?
Blackbeard. Blackbeard I went with in the end.
Blackbeard.
I had a whole list of my top 2-year-olds, and the Platinum Queen was one of those.
There he is.
Little Big Bear, but there he is. He's a gorgeous boy. Yeah, he's just, because he's such a lunatic as well, it just factors into it. I love horses with character, whose character then doesn't get in the way of their ability either, and it clearly doesn't with Blackbeard either. And he's been so heavily campaigned for a 2-year-old from this yard, which obviously makes you a little bit concerned that he may not progress then and take it forwards, and they're trying to strike whilst the iron is hot in his 2-year-old year. But I still think he's getting better and better. And for all of his antics beforehand, the fact that, what was it called again? Pig stomping or something?
Pig rooting.
That's the one, pig stomping.
It's etched on my retinas, that.
I think that's made up.
We've never heard of this term before.
I called it pig footing because I couldn't remember what it was, and Barry said, that sounds a lot better.
I called it like a cow stomp or something.
Pig
and
rooting just, nah.
No, it's weird. But for all of that, he is hard as nails in the race, though, isn't he? That sort of, the temper that he shows beforehand, and that's what it is, then translates into how hardy he is in a race. And I love the attitude
Beaten
he
by
shows.
Bradsell.
I know he was, to be fair, but that's before he really copped on and matured and got better and better, and beaten by Shartash as well. But other than that, he's been getting better and better the whole while, heavily campaigned, improving.
Heavily campaigned. Started on the 8th of April.
Yep.
Isn't it?
Nothing to
Dundalk.
lose.
No.
Rather than riding him at home, it's easier to.
Yeah, it's
him
probably
on the
actually
track.
easier to get him out onto the track, isn't it?
Was
And
the
another-
middle
no, they
park?
never.
Okay, I don't want to. We're celebrating. I'm not going to do what.
Are you not going to go?
I'm not going to do what Millman did and call him
detrimental against him?
incorrect. But
He ain't going to make a stallion. I can tell you that.
who Baaeed? Yeah.
Oh. Would you not want a little
Why would you want
not
to buy an absolute nutcase?
We're not
pig
going to see
rooter.
horses next season, according to James.
Is it
Bradsell's
usually
got no
fillies
chance.
that do the pig rooting? Oh, God, how many times are we going to say pig rooting? It's like Cartmel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just keep saying it. But pig rooting, if you're not sure what we're talking about, is when a horse goes loopy at the start.
Well, he dropped
basically.
Ryan 3 times.
Looked like a rodeo horse.
He's just.
I think
yeah.
in the middle part, Ryan almost looked like he was enjoying the pig rooting.
Well, Ryan doesn't look like he's enjoying it when he's had a winner normally. So.
Yes, so.
But Blackbeard has done Aidan a lot of favours, of course. He's one of
But
his
I think he knows that
third domestic Group 1
he's been a
winner
good
at 2 year
backup
old.
of Little Big Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is the backup.
And you think he'll train on and take the Commonwealth Cup, don't you?
I think he will do. Yeah, exactly. We were having much debate
like
about the
this.
Commonwealth Cup, weren't we, earlier on? And I hadn't actually seen the prices for the Commonwealth Cup anti-post just yet. But when I saw he was about 5-1 market leader, yeah, I think he's fast. So I hope they'll keep him to
And you've just had a
keeping
great
trips.
journey with him.
Yeah,
And
I
the middle
have.
park, whatever you think
Yeah.
about it. I was going to counter and say if you thought the Duos was bad, I'm not sure about the middle part. I mean, Marshman was
dare
just, how dare I?
Yeah, but we've spoke about why Marshman was blur.
But he does look like he's
didn't
getting
handle it.
better and better, Blackbeard, I agree.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if they dip their toes into the Breeders' Cup waters with him. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe he's been done for the year, but it's aggressive campaign.
That wouldn't surprise if they did.
That wouldn't surprise, because there's a juvenile turf sprint, isn't there?
There's options.
It's the one that they call the ugly sister, isn't it, that over there in the States? They just don't think it should be part of it at all. Yeah, it's the one that we always win, basically.
Yeah.
The mighty Gomez then comes on. Good to have you back on the show, Gomez. Saw a very nice 2-year-old on Wednesday. Artistic staff of Rafe Beckett will be following next year. And that goes into what you were saying, James, about Rafe having
That was a
proper Arsenal.
Nottingham one in Jeff Smith colours.
Ooh, it
Oh,
was.
yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
Altered
back
up.
to,
Stouty
back
had a
to
grey
it.
in it that they quite liked. And that just got outstayed, basically. But I saw that race, and Jeff Smith's colours are really seen back to prominence. I mean, alcohol-free, something of a forgotten horse because you haven't seen it for a little while. But in fact, I'm a little bit surprised that she's...
Hands and heels won quite easy, didn't it? 25s into 16s. Won comfortably.
Yeah. Dreams are alive then at this stage, aren't they, anti-post next season? We're building an anti-post Lucky 15 as well. We already have one in from Barry. But we'll get on to that as the show goes on.
Remarky is another Rafe Beckett 2-year-old. That was one of the ones that won at Salisbury.
You just have to
Philly.
read the Racing Post analysis to know everything you need about that.
Well, was that
You can't imagine who wrote that,
was
can
that
you?
a special candidate wrote that?
Senior analyst was on that one.
Senior. You're in
analyst.
Broadway.
Telling you all about that. I was listening to you. In fact, we have got. I was listening to you. You were there that day, weren't you? Talking about them all.
To be fair, no, I wasn't actually.
Which day was it? You were at Salisbury recently.
I was
You were
at
talking
one of them.
absolute pap. I was writing away, and I had to just go mute.
But what happens
He's trying to
when-
put me off my. A senior analyst would have, if I could have
Actually-
only WhatsApped you. You were like, I was like, what's he on about this bloke?
I swear, when a Dave Orton writes the comments, it's basically verbatim what I've said in my post-race.
Oh, well, we do. I mean, that
spill.
is a blow. That is a blow, James Millman. Right, time for my top 2-year-old of 2022. We haven't seen him as much as we want. A bout of colic kept him out of the Dewhurst, but I think he would have won it. And it's Noble Style for Godolphin. And it depends what you think about this horse. Maybe now that he's gone into winter quarters, I think we are expecting him to do that and not go to the Breeders' Cup. Again, wouldn't totally surprise. When he won the Gimcrack, as Robbie Wilde has called it the other day, absolute buffoon.
Deliberately.
No.
He's not a cultured soul, is he?
No.
crack.
He said he poured himself a gin and tonic afterwards and all that sort of stuff. But when he won the gym crack, he beat Marshman, of course. Well, I think probably that was a peak Marshman, and no reason to fault the form. The form man's worked out, cold case and lights of that. Horses have come out and won at smaller tracks. Everything he did wrong, and he arrived having had a comeback, should we call it, on the July course. He was favourite for the commentary after, of course, he won a deep novice race at Ascot. I love this guy. He was going away at the end of it. He was the most impressive gimcrack winner I've seen in many a year. And I think Godolphin have really got one here. They know it as well. So I think as long as he gets back. So that 118 I think he's definitely a 120 horse in the making. And 10 to 1 about the Commonwealth Cup.
We putting him in for the Any Post?
Well, the problem is, if I thought he'd win a Dewhurst, maybe they think he might stretch
Guinea,
out.
Yeah.
Because
I'm hoping
I think the Dewhurst would have been the one, actually.
They haven't got one either at the moment.
They don't, which they're
With
desperate for,
Yeah.
aren't
Force
they?
him to-
So they're going to stretch him.
Well, probably. I think they probably might. I mean, Flying Honours now looks like he's a Derby horse. What's the thing that won the
66s.
Autumn Stakes?
66s for the Ledger. The
What's the horse that
Worcester.
won the Autumn Stakes? It was 66 for the Ledger.
Yeah.
Noble Style?
Yeah.
Well, bearing in mind the Grand Dam won the Queen Mary.
If you take a mile off it,
That's all the interest at the moment.
if you put the one away from that, Hryhorskyj, unbelievable. This is a guy that thought Wordsworth was good. He actually came in with an anti-post lucky 15 as well, just in case we didn't fill the other parts. I can tell you that. And I looked at it on the summer and I was like, that would have been you sacked if that had come in. They wouldn't have been able to do the payout.
Yeah.
It would have been a serious ballpark. If you want to know, you can get hold of Marc on Twitter and he'll tell you exactly what it was, I'm sure.
Silver Knot, by the way, awesome stakes.
Silver Knot, of course, who made the top list as well, didn't he? So, again, he might still... So, I think they will try and stretch out Noble Style, but he has the option of reverting like Perfect Power did.
There'll definitely be a trial anyway.
And we know he loves Ascot. He's a proper horse. Anyway, so Noble Style for me, and... to see him come back like that at the gym crack when people were poo-pooing him because he did look so good in his debut, it was great to see, and I hope he comes back and Charlie Appleby get him as a 3-year-old because he's the most exciting of them for me. There's a reminder of the top 2-year-old this year by Racing Post Racing's Chaldine, marvellous Cave Rock. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Royal Scotsman on the back of that. Tahira. Do we think Tahira will be at a peak for the Irish Guineas?
That's the question mark, isn't it?
I mean, she could show up on her
I know
debut
that
to win
Dermot Wild won it this season, but sometimes Dermot's 2-year-olds, they can take a time to find their rhythm as a 3-year-old. So she did look like a monster, though, didn't she, when she beat Meditate?
3-1 favourite currently. In the Betfair
It's
Sports
lovely
Book.
to see the Aga Khan having some great horses again.
And when she won her debut at Galway, that was at the time of season where none of the Yard's horses were really winning either. She was the standalone, when we tend to expect Yard's horses to go in at Galway. It's that, again, that old cliche. And she was the only one who did. So, I mean, she could show herself up ready for that Davy start at least anyway, in a time of year that when the Yard horses weren't firing whatsoever. So, yeah, I think she's an absolute monster.
Yeah, I must admit, I was with her in the Moyglare, and so I hope she does. I
It's
just
really
don't know,
nice.
from an anti-post, I'd rather sort of see her get there and back her, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really nice horse, Moyglare. Finished third at the Eternal Silence. A lot of warm money for that debut, and at 50s, 2-year one, second time out. That would be the one that I would probably take out the race against the favourite. Third.
Marc showing his sort of trading MO there, basically. A lot of interesting warm money for horses and stuff like that. So it would remind us of the name of the Moyglare horse?
It's Eternal Silence.
Eternal Silence.
Yeah, ran on.
A winner waiting to
hands
happen,
and heels,
yeah?
It was 50s on the day.
Okay,
And a good race.
all right. There we are then. All right, so there we go. A bit more chat about the year so far. Well, up to now, basically. But again, some great memories. I mean, is Verdini staying in training? How well did he run in the Arc, by the way?
Yeah, didn't he just? Yeah, scarily well then. But yeah, I mean, he definitely stayed anyway. I'm trying to think what they were saying about him. I did hear some quotes there the other day. I think
He is staying
they
in
are
training
tempted,
because
yeah.
obviously Christoph's got the sack, but they weren't saying that he wasn't
That
going to
was
ride
it.
him
Yeah,
next year.
That was it, yeah. And,
So
and
he's-
they're keener to get more wins than out of him now that he's proved himself further.
What did you think of the ride on the German horse in that race?
On Frankie,
Do you not think he was
He
given
was
too much
never
to
really
do?
going.
Apart from his white.
he
wasn't
wasn't.
really
He was
going.
struggling
Even
to
from
get
his
him
draw.
to get a position. That was half the problem.
Ran well considering.
If he had a lower draw, he would
Yeah.
have got closer to Alpinista.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not
He
so
got
sure.
stuck in the mid pack, not getting a
Potentially,
position.
because he wasn't going that well.
Yep, both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
He
I
ran
think
well.
we can all agree that Alpinista had the ideal trip.
Luke Morris could not have dreamt it would go any better.
Brilliant moment again, that wasn't it?
That was my actual highlight of the season, was seeing Sir Marc.
Glad someone said that. Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it?
That's why I had as well. If you weren't watching it, you didn't see the race car, you think it was Jamie Spencer to the 2 furlong pole, and he just pushed the button, it just went clear.
And Sir Marc's, brilliant interview that he did when he basically said, the whole day went terribly up to that point. The plane wouldn't work.
Embellished by Sir Marc.
Of course, but
the greatest storyteller.
But that's why we love him, isn't it? That's absolutely why we love him. And then they went to a restaurant which was absolutely ram-packed, wasn't it? And he was like, curses.
He slipped up the other day, 80-1 debut winner from the Sir Marc Prescott
I
Yard.
saw that.
Yes.
Standards have slipped, I think, at the Heath House.
Probably a Group 1 winner, isn't it?
It could be the next one.
Yeah, was it Omnipresent or something it was called, wasn't it? I saw that. Yeah, and again, just magnificent stuff. So let's keep your highlights coming in, guys, as the show goes on. We've done our 2-year-olds that we think will light up next year as well. Luke Rawson says in the chat, Tahira doesn't show up at Newmarket. Well, that might not be the case, but it's the Irish Guineas. I think we might. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. Tahira and I don't.
She's more like she's going to stay a lot further as well, isn't she?
That biggest shock, is it?
What's that?
I mean, he has won with Refuse to Bend on that weekend, of course, if you remember, a classic. So he can get them ready for it. And it's Dermot we're talking about. He can turn water, out of most things. He's just a genius, isn't he? I think we can say that. Marvellous guy.
Sure.
And great to see him still about with a classic hope, basically, for next season. Who's enjoying the show out there? Let us know you are there. Lots of great audience numbers so far today, as it should be on Champions Day. We're just concentrating on Ascot for you, and is the Phillies and Mares next. Let's get some tips coming in as we near the race then. We've got, about another 10 minutes to go. It's a place lay of Emily Upjohn, perhaps unsurprisingly for Marc Hryhorskyj, deputising for Barry Orr in the chair. Kate Tracey, what wins the Fillies and Mares?
Oh, see, this is where we agree, because I think that Emily Upjohn, for all that she's drifting to a fairer price, I think that she is still worth taking on anyway. The fact that was such a disappointment last time out, you can forgive it. Mitigating circumstances, it was Plan B, and she was sort of keen enough. She was so keen in the early stages and found absolutely nothing thereafter. Don't forget the Sela Rossa is in here, the headline act, of course.
Tough as teak.
As Ascot advertising would have it, hence probably why she's been cut in. But stay alert. Very, very fair price. I don't think she's reached any of the pinnacle of her ability just yet whatsoever. I think she's been underestimated here completely. She did so well to win last time out, where she was stuck for room repeatedly. Admittedly, her best form seemingly has come at Newbury, but I think that this further step up in trip again chancing it again, will just see her to a better effect. I think that's really what she wants, and of course it didn't quite work out for her on her penultimate start when she did try Group Company, obviously in the Lancashire Oaks, but we know that was a messy race. She was ridden in rear, paid to be prominent anyway, and to win the Arc Trial, I just think that she's now being underestimated at her current price.
So we are agreeing again, aren't we? The telepathy is here. And we know that Barry Orr, who joined us at the top of the show from Ascot, this is one of his big hopes. This is his play of the day. Where are we in the market, Marc? And again, you can see your eyes lighting up. Come on, this is Injured Jockey fun time.
Emily Upjohn 4.8, so they're actually backing up to get this one.
What's the angle with Stay Alert? How many places have we got here?
Stay Alert, 3 places, 2.64. There's not much of a price discrepancy between. Well, that's actually 3.8 around the 11 to.
Let's have a back
mark.
of Stay Alert. Come on for the Injured Jockeys fun. Come on, you can do it.
12 to 1
No,
on
honestly,
the
the pool is
Betfair
endless.
Exchange. Right, so you want to back Stay Alert,
Yep.
12.5. Okay, you just on the win, or do you want to take the 4-place market as well, the 5-place market?
What is she in the place
Be
market?
safe, Mr. Orton.
5-place market, she's currently 2.2, so roughly around the 5 to 4 chance.
We want to be a bit juicier than that. don't
4
we?
places?
Both me and Kate think she's going to win.
Yeah. What have we got in the 3 places?
These are quite confident, are you? Right, okay. Right, we'll
Getting
take
more confident with each showing.
11 to 4.
On the laptop?
3.7, yeah. So you want win in place, Stay Alert.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
We'll do
Are you?
£12.50 on both,
Yeah.
okay?
Joint effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the blame, half it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So myself and Kate are very keen on Stay Alert here. She's had quite a bit of racing this season, the 3-year-old, but very impressive last time. She only won by a neck, but she was valued for a lot further. And she's, as Kate says, got form with a few of these, Sela Rossa and Eshada as well. I like Mimq in this. She's another one that I've backed as well, Rab Havlin. She's been quite easy to back, Marc.
Big price, 14s. And
Is that what she is?
Emily Upjohn, 4.2, so the money is coming for her, but I think she's too short. We're in the 3-1 mark.
All right, okay. All right, James.
Tough race. Emily Upjohn, I'm not sure what is going to turn out with Emily Upjohn after last time. So that's a bit of a dampening the market. Interesting, Marc saying the money's just starting to come late, which does suggest a bit of stable confidence, especially in relation to a stable mate, Mimq, because form-wise, you probably couldn't split them on recent efforts anyway. I've taken a big shout with Race Beckett's filly. She's weak, Albaflora, but she was second in the race last year. This year's not going to plan, and she may have had a setback, and she may not be as good as what she was last year, but it's a huge price.
60s on the Betfair Exchange, massive price.
For a filly, only just came up short last year, got beat at short head when she was 3-1. I think it's a stronger renewal this year, but I thought she was too big a price if Race Beckett can get her back. That was kind of my angle into the race, which is a tough fillies and mares this year.
Yeah, and the market is often a good pointer for this race. Shada, of course, who comes back trying to win it for a second season in a row. She was 16s when she won it last season. It would look like a shock, but Roger Vera, and she's proven herself to be,
she's been quite steady.
Worthy enough.
10-1 on the Betfair Exchange, being matched to bigger prices.
But apart from that, you got Madam Chang, who I remember on awful ground in 2014 when I was there, and it was
her one day.
Her one day in the sun, and of course in Albaflora's colours.
Yeah.
The Alpinista colours is now going to be called forever. But that was actually really well backed. Seal of Approval before that, it was a turn is again overpriced at 16, but it often is around about a sort of 4-1. Starcatcher was the real short one that landed the odds for Gosden in 2019. Magical, how did she go off 5-1? Hydrangea, Journey, Simple Verse.
Wonderful Tonight.
Wonderful Tonight. Yeah. Sad story, of course. Wonderful Tonight from this year, wasn't it? But a great horse. Okay, so there are our tips, and I was a tad surprised that no one went for Eternal Pearl.
She's done well. She's turned the corner because she was a bit of a tearaway, wasn't she, at the start of the year? I remember she won a novice at Kempner just to get her confidence back at the 7-2 on, and it's been stepping up, listed at Newmarket, Group 3, Deauville, and another Group 3 last time. I certainly wouldn't be putting you off her. This is another step up. She's dominated slightly weaker contests, I suppose, in her recent wins.
Just before we go to some socials, look, you can see Spotlight verdict there. Sweet Lady. I must admit, this has kind of gone under my radar a little bit. We said that we had a French raider in it that Marc Hryhorskyj likes and is in the lucky 15. They're very elegant. What about Sweet Lady, Marc? Another French raider for the Graffard stable.
Yeah, strong in the market as well, 13.5, around the 12-1 mark. Winner last time out. Yeah, it's drawn 14. I'm not sure if that'll be a negative, but I think this race is revolved around Emily Upjohn. If Emily Upjohn blows out, this is wide open. That's where I think it's going to go.
I just think she's going to blow out. I mean, the market is suggesting that I'm now watching her shorten in.
Yeah.
Is this a Frankie factor, potentially?
Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
Ken Russell, your two favourites have gone in so far.
Yes, of course.
Your trebles will start to rack up.
Favs are on a hat-trick, aren't they? Absolutely.
Like, Rab Havlin's more than capable. I mean, he's 15.5. Frankie's 4.6 here. It's too much of a price discrepancy there.
Yeah, okay, all right, let's get some socials out there. Let's see what you like out there, and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook Live land. And Dip comes on and says, thought looking down the card it might be Frankie's day. Well, the market is agreeing with you. Oh, Frankie just didn't sound like he wanted to write this,
He did not. The quote was not, especially after a winner, that was Frankie after a bad result. And I think he may well have been told you're riding Emily Upjohn.
Well, the market is suggesting that they are sensing, Frankie's had a winner. He's got a pretty decent card. He's got Inspiral coming up, of course. Ian Wallace, great to have you on, Ian, says, maybe Sila Rossa could be the best value. Cracking form, ready to make it 4 in a row. She bows out after this, we were told exclusively by William Haggis yesterday, a trainer as well. She's tough as teak, as we said. She everything in her favour. Sila Rossa, the next each way. Performs every time. Says Paul Bakewell. Good to have you on, Paul. Cooking as ever. Big Bundit. I haven't seen that name before, I don't think. Welcome. I think Emily Upjohn will blitz them. Oh, nice. All right. Well, look, someone's got to be looking at this market and thinking, hang on a minute. Why is no one liking this whatsoever? I mean, Bundit, my man. I'm assuming you are, of course, of that variety. As a 3-1 shot goes, I mean, have a look elsewhere. That would be my suggestion.
I would concur with that one. And you got the each way angles for those at a bigger price. We mentioned the Spotlight suggestion. I think she's probably overpriced the French filly.
She's shortening up in the Betfair Exchange. Nice 9 to 1
Sweet
now.
lady.
Yeah.
Is she going to get an uncontested lead, do you think, if she does what she did last time out? What's going to take her on for the pace, but still 14?
Still 14 is quite good actually from the mile and a half because you can kind of
Say straight.
slosh over.
Yes,
across.
well, again, should we just talk about that quickly? So, on the round course at Ascot, from a mile 2 up,
Makes no sense,
it makes very little sense.
Yeah.
but it's what does the stats say?
Well, just they sort of at speed, they sort of save ground, don't they? I guess, and it gets a bit rough on the
it's
inside
not
sometimes.
Yeah, they're at an angle, and it just kind of encourages those on the outside to come in on
And
top
as we
of those.
see, horses drawn 1 on the round course can sometimes get screamed for run turning in. Who's in 1 at 4 p.m?
Yes, we know who's in 1 at 4 p.m. The great one.
The,
weak
the
now.
great one. Yes,
She's on the
indeed.
drift now, Dave. Emily Upjohn, she's weak now, out to 9 to 2, 5.4.
Emily Dickinson's in this, of course, as well. Ryan Moore. Not often you see Ryan Moore in a race of this nature.
She nibbles for it, 60s into 38.
33 to 1. I mean, she just doesn't. She looks tripless, doesn't she?
Yeah, I can't. I've tried
not
something
quite
a
as
few
good as they
times,
wanted to
but
be.
No.
She had a
money
chance probably
for,
last time. One more social coming up as well. And Toon 2020, one of our favourites, says William Haggis gives a nice each way to Lilac Road. Slightly worried about the ground, Toon, I think. But apart from that, was thrilled with her. And of course, it's background at Longchamp. But ideally, she would have, she would have been doing it. But hopefully, I think we'll see her back next year. She's had a great season. I was at York when she won on in the year. Anyway, off and running then for the filly and mares. Great to have you with us along the way. Good chat there leading into it. Kept our fires burning, that's for sure. Where's the pace going to come
Is that
from?
going to be Sweet Lady on the far side?
We were looking for it. Ross Carberry as well for Paddy Toomey, a great strike rate trainer. How good was he on Irish Champions weekend? Could this be a big one
on
coming?
the back straight?
Yeah.
Silo Rosso is there as well, and again,
Emily's keen,
wow,
isn't she?
that
She's
turf
keen.
is being kicked out. Ishada a little bit keen. Emily Upjohn,
Keen.
stinking
Hood is
lit up.
not-
She's not favouring
Emily
running
Dickinson
anymore.
on the outside, very elegant on the outside. Looking back, Alba Flora's got a lovely sit on the inside, a little bit keen maybe. Eternal Pearl just off her, Thunder Kiss, beautiful sit in the midfield. Looking back for some of the big players, Lilac Road as well. Stay alert's going to see them all in.
Frankie's
under
a 10 to
David
1
Egan.
chance here. He's very weak on the Betfair Exchange, Frankie.
What's she out to now?
Well, she was out to 10. She's from trading about 8 to 1 now. Sela Ross's favourite at 9 to 2.
Yeah, Tom McCann's got exactly where he wants to be.
On
tracking the leader.
Rossa. She's quite exuberant. Isn't she? I don't remember being this keen in a race. But again, she keeps finding, doesn't she? We know she stays a bit further. So it is Ireland in front then with Ross Carberry at the minute. Sweet lady, she didn't like the fact she's not leading Kate, I don't think, does she?
Yeah, she's all right. She's in his hands there, to be fair. But yeah, no, happy to take lead. Doesn't seem like
Frankie's not happy. 3
Oh,
wide.
yeah,
Keen.
3 wide and keen, like you said. I know he likes to go 1 wider on the round course.
He'll be thinking,
but
please,
3?
Mimkey, don't win this. Of course, who's out the back as well. Stay alert, Kate.
Yeah, no, like say out back there, obviously ideally for a better pace on because we've got a fair few that are keen, suggesting they're not going mad pace by any means. But
She's
yeah.
up in trip slightly as well, so they're probably
Yeah.
conscious of that, aren't they?
I don't
Okay,
like that.
we're at about 5 finals out. Marc Hryhorskyj, who's leading the market? What are they screaming for?
Sela Ross a 7 to 2. Emily Upjohn's in at around 4 to 1, 5.5, 9 to 2.
Ashada's got a nice sit, hasn't she?
7.2 Ashada.
Yeah,
Ross
Thunder
Carberry,
Kiss still on the
6 to 1.
bridle.
Yeah.
Looking for some of the bigger players then. Eternal Pearl's got a difficult position, so
And
they're
Thor
turning
off
in,
the bridle.
guys. Ross Carberry then, when will this get overtaken? 3 furlongs out. So I'll tell you what, Stay Alert's going to have sprout wings, given
Yeah.
far too much to do, I don't think.
Frankie's
Very
still
elegant's coming, Mark, on the outside. Thunder
yeah.
Kiss is still
That's
there with a
Charlotte
good
again.
chance. I'll tell you what, the Grey's going to need a run. But Emily Upjohn now, despite the fact
Yeah,
she's putting like
she's
stink,
coming on
she's
strongly, isn't
attacked. Alba Flora's coming as well a little bit. It's class to the 4 here. I'll tell you
Emily
what.
Upjohn's won easy. She's
What a
closed
great
up.
training performance
She's
this
closed
is.
up.
It looks like she's going to do it. Thunder Kiss was a little
Yeah,
bit
it's one.
solid in the run. Could she yet be a late danger? Could she? Ross Carberry's
she's going
coming
so
back. The
hard.
ones from the back have absolutely flopped. There's been loads of disappointments in this race. Emily Upjohn then.
Bullied
We
up.
were a little bit disparaging about her. We saw some great social comments coming in saying, well, blitz them. Has done exactly that. In Gosden, we trust a lot of you will be saying the market suggested, Mark, that she was certainly going to show her A game. She did it.
Yeah, she came in a little bit, then she drifted out to 5.4 BSP or 9 to 2. As you say, she was either going to win or she's going to be tailed off. But she's very keen in the run, so considering that was a good performance, considering how keen she was and how wide she was, absolutely blitzed them back to that old form. But yeah, it's one of these ones you look at, how did she go off 9 to 2? Similar to what you said, magical 5 to 1 previously.
Let's have a look at the 4. I mean, Thunder
Oh, yeah.
Kiss didn't get a great run through, wouldn't have beaten the winner. And there was a big outsider, wasn't it, running on as well. Insinuendos, that was an Irish 2-3, that's for sure. So the moral Oaks winner for a lot of you has bounced back, and it's Frankie Dettori, a double.
Relieved as well.
3 races down.
3 favourites.
3 favourites. And what comes up next? Inspiral in the next, isn't it? No, could it
We're
be
all
4
taking
then? We've
on
got
and laying.
Baaeed.
What's Inspiral down to now,
She's
Marc?
weak. 2.36.
I'll tell you what, Barry on the track's going. The steam coming off Barry. Oh, he's in the press room. If you see the great man, let us know if you're at Ascot. How is it over there? And if you've seen Keels, I think after Kinross, you'll know where he will be,
He's
shouting
happy.
from the rafters.
Social media suggests he's very happy.
Oh, does it? Okay, yeah, I haven't
does
gone there yet.
suggest
That will be my train to Watford after this. I'm going to see Watford Norwich
Banker's
after
come
this.
in for race 2, so I don't know what rest of racing Keels is going to see.
I remember the year that excellent agent won the Queen Anne. It was his only winner that year, by the way. But when that won the first, it was
That was it.
SOS. That's for sure. I'm going to do a show with you, Kills, in a minute. And all that sort of thing. No, you can't give a good man down. He's had a frustrating year, but his punter's absolutely in clover, as Frankie's will be. Now, we're talking about liabilities and all that sort of stuff, and we've had 3 favourites down. Surely Inspiral goes off odds on now. Marc Hryhorskyj.
She's drifting 2.38. But you'd imagine after now she's going to start shortening up with the multiples.
And it's sod's law that my nap run is the one favourite that's good. If you believe in these things or not, 4 favourites don't often win in a row, do they? So she's got that against her, whether you believe in these things or not.
What Baaeed later on? Is that the one we get beat?
That could be 5 out of 5.
I think one of them will get beat. Which one though?
Well, this is why you're in the game, Marc, absolutely. And Emily Upjohn having a little look at the crowd as well. Frankie's milking it, quite rightly so. Let's keep talking about the race, but you know where I'm going to go with this afterwards, don't you? Because Ascot and Frankie this year has been mind-blowing, isn't it? So Emily Upjohn then, another fav goes in. Thunder Kiss, massive run for Joe Lyons. Slightly better than the fair form. An insinuendo for William McCreary. What a race on that, but lots of horses didn't really turn up in that one. We'll pick the bones out of it after Big Bundit, quite rightly, returns to rub our noses in and say, blitz them. Go collect, my friend. Happy days. You've got 2 more races to play with us as we look at some more coming in. Do we have another social there, or was it just the Big Bundit one? Just that one, okay. We'll start building them up then. Okay, so look, Frankie's taken out the 2 races here. Can we cast our memories back to June?
Oh, yes.
When these colours for Frankie, the Kinross colours, were extremely important because he had that just that one ride, didn't he, on that say
That was
after.
the zoo, wasn't it?
The zoo.
Yeah.
It was the zoo.
Yeah.
The zoo. When quite publicly called out by the Gosden camp and Bjorn Nilsson in particular, Stradivarius' owner, lots of stories emerged about what had happened in the weeks leading up to Ascot. Frankie wasn't turning up to ride work, that sort of stuff. More interested in getting money from the tipping in the boxes, he said, didn't he, where the champagne was flowing than riding his races.
Things just were not going smoothly, were they?
Still one on Inspiral, of course. Reach for the Moon was probably
That was
one of the
painful.
straws.
And then Saga. That was the icing on the cake, I think. For the,
Which probably should have beaten Thesis in the Britannia.
If you ask.
If you ask Connections.
Yeah,
But the way it played out wasn't for everyone, wasn't it? But then, if you look at now the way it's gone, can we see why John was doing it, John Gosden? A wake-up call?
Well, he's dealing with a 50-year-old man, but he does treat
One of the
him
greatest jockeys we'll ever see.
he treats him like he's a 15-year-old.
It wasn't for everyone, was it?
But look, at the end of the season, ultimately, it's
And there was a U-turn back for Inspiral, of course, on the July course. We know what happened
cost
there.
Frankie a Group 1.
Which
irony of ironies.
But she obviously bounced that day, didn't she? Otherwise, I think she did. Now, we'll get to this because there is a range of opinion on what happens to Inspiral next. But all of a sudden, Inspiral is becoming a very important horse coming into the next. And I mean, the Gosden and Frankie thing was pretty much over, wasn't it? And of course, Thady involved as well massively. And then the U-turn that they did, for John to come back and say, you know, he remains a great friend. It was great to have him back on side, and the hugs were there again. And
could be like our little politics issue at the moment, and the fact that there was no one there to step into a stable jockey role. And Frankie, at some point, he will be retiring in the near future. He can't keep on going forever. So there will be a jockey at some point going into Clarehaven to become the new number 1. But for now, Frankie is still the best option for them. And
well, there was some talk about, is it the job it used to be? You know, did John not let them? You know, 'cause John's, you know, now joined by his son, and the 2-year-olds, weren't sure what they were having. Obviously, they have got some very good 2-year-olds as well, again. And of course they are, and the likes of Emily Upjohn have shown just there what sort of... John will always have the ammo, I reckon. You know, but with Frankie, were there the horses there? I don't really know. You know, a lot of them have retired.
For someone to jump ship from a big operation.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's.
Would you, if you're James Doyle, would you go back to that job?
It would be a William Buick-esque booking when he became the Gosden jockey. Whenever that was, 10, 12 years. It would be an unknown one, I think. Just
before Frankie came back to it, wasn't it?
Well, Holly Doyle was sort of the most touted, wasn't she, after everything going so well for Nashwa, that she was sort of, people were talking, well, now is this surely not the next step for her, rather than just her retainership for that owner to actually then take up the Gosden role? Should it become available with Frankie, and everyone sort of already retiring Frankie at that stage, weren't they? Well, really, should he be going on? What's he going to do? Is he just going to go pot hunting around the world now? There was all of that talk. I mean, like you say, what a U-turn it's been.
Well, Benoit got the same keel.
Yeah, but that could well be a shout. Champion apprentice. He's
they
been
kept
in
quiet about him as well, haven't they? Someone was asking me about that.
Well, they've had to after.
Well, maybe, of course, because he was stood down for cocaine abuse.
Stood by him as well. Still running again.
Yeah, and managed him and champion apprentice. You know, this is also a massive day for Benoit, and probably might just work in his favour. That one, he's young enough, of course, to to be in the rearview mirror.
It would want to be a 2-year down the line kind of job for an apprentice like that, but they have been using him on the young horses.
It's hard not to rate him, isn't it?
He's gone through. When he first winner, first ride, Kevin Phillip before, he had about 5 winners and 10 rides, so he's very much a talented young lad, and there he could be that rider. Not ready now, but Frankie, 2 more seasons, 1 more season down the line, there could be a name like him anyway in the frame.
This is just the greatest sport of all, this, isn't it? I mean, we're all football fans, you know what I mean? We all have our other sports and stuff, but this is the greatest game of all, isn't it? To have that happen during, I think we can we agree that Royal Ascot was the best meeting of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Bar none. I mean, it's often the one, isn't it?
York was some highlights at York this year. Baaeed, although it wasn't the race, the actual divisional, the crowd.
He turned up at both, obviously.
Alpinista went on to win at York as well, so it's more crowning them, I suppose.
The Ebor meeting
in
sounded fantastic.
Yeah,
I think
lucky
we'll look to cover that
one.
again next year, I think. It was that good.
But Royal Ascot, we had the 5 days of drama, didn't we? And the Frankie drama certainly took a fair part of it.
Jane Chapel-Hyam, seeing her. Was it the first 14 races went to separate trainers?
Yep.
Yes, that was it.
Unheard of. Took Ryan up to Ryan A down to rely on Little Big Bear, who went for the Windsor Castle. I mean, that was talk about punt job.
Yeah.
You know, to run their best 2-year-old in that was like,
to the Windsor, exactly.
Have what you want on
We'll note for next season, not to dismiss it. That's the thing, isn't it? And sort of when we look ahead to the turn of the season then to join the jumps and sort of the dominance then of the powerhouses in the jumps yard. And then you look at this season as a whole for the flat, and like you say, that first day of Royal Ascot, to have that many different trainers winning and seemingly smaller, I say in inverted commas, trainers then delivering at the top table. It's wonderful. It is what makes flat racing fantastic, where we see the big money flying at the sales and we think, well, it's so monopolised by the big money. But then the way that the results actually work out, it's so spread.
And we all desperately want to reach for the moon to win for
that was just
like Queen Elizabeth.
Nobody, trainers didn't declare against her. The race was literally set up, and the Australian
Jane did
comes
the dirty,
in
shot Bambi's mother.
and beats her, and then loses the royal winner.
What was the name of the horse? I keep forgetting.
Claymore.
Well done. Wilder's put that up. Anyway, so there we go. Look, we talk about it. Can we agree, guys, out there, the best meeting of the year? Breath of fresh air meeting, wasn't it? Everyone was back. International Raiders again, showing exactly how it should be done. The flowers stand to attention at Royal Ascot, as I say, and cannot wait for that to come back next season. All right, okay, Dan the Man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, joins us back and says, Frankie, 2 rides, 2 wins so far, in Spiral to round it off for the champ.
She's
There's
drifting.
a bit of humming and ahhing going on here on the panel,
2.4.
Dan.
I thought she'd go the other way. She's 2.4, so roughly around 11.8.
Just a quick social again, Mark, before we go in, because I think we might go back to just something we've been just touching on. Big Bundit comes back on. His moment in the sun. We'll give you your social moments, because Emily upjohned it and said Holly Doyle will be the Clearhaven #1. There was a market up as well at one point on sports, but Barry was saying she's unbackable almost, Baaeed territory, to get the job next season. But we've had this before with Colin Keane and Ryan Moore. It's a dangerous thing to get involved, but she did look like she was in pole position, Kate, at one point.
Yeah, she did, didn't she? Like you say, she was so short of price then to get it. But it's again, in racing, the whispers can do so much talking beyond their level then, which moves the markets. Therefore, like you say, we had that then when people were doubting Ryan Moore's form for Baaeed then, and that Colin Keane should be taking over as the stable jockey for them then, and he's the new up-and-comer. And look what has happened there. I mean, Ryan Moore has been riding between him and William Buick. Again, it sort of goes without saying, but the two greatest jockeys in the world, in my opinion, and they've been proving that throughout this entire season.
Oh, greatest jockeys in the world's
Yeah,
a nice
between
one.
those two.
We could float that, couldn't we?
So not.
I reckon that James McDonald's ratings
McDonald
went
now.
down slightly this morning, you're suggesting?
I can only go by what the old social media was saying.
You've
saying
seen Rob
first
Way
thing.
get custard pies in here, and you know now how to play it, don't you? You're just gently suggesting that he's not the
I
best jockey in
couldn't
the world.
match the Rod Way for social media snippets.
Yeah, all right, we've got he's moving else at the moment, G, that's why he's not in. But right, Nedster, let's see when Ned was in. When Frankie is on form, no one can stop him. And that, again,
He
touches,
is a momentum jockey,
it
and that's
touches
why
on what we
Ascot
said.
to Stradivarius, he was upset with what
Yeah.
happened, and
Best
then it just
jockey
went downhill.
ever, no doubt about it. And we're obviously talking about the flat here. Best jockey ever on the flat. I mean,
Pickett, I think, yeah, probably.
did you see any of Leicester? It was just as I was getting in, he just
when
retired.
he came back to win at Breeders' Cup, was it
Royal
Anthem, whatever it was. But yeah, that
Royal Academy?
I think it's Royal Academy.
Might be
Royal
Royal
Anthem was
Academy.
Jump Grand National.
Well, yeah, of course, sorry. It was Royal Academy. In the green colours, brilliant
But
story.
longevity for Frankie. Who would have thought when he
Well,
had
Leicester
what,
also went on, didn't he? I mean,
nine winners or 12 winners before he got the Alshire
you got
Card
Steve
job.
Cawthon, haven't you? You got Kieran Fallon, we have to put him in there. You got
Alash.
Mick Cannan. Mick Cannan, for me, would be definitely top three.
Yeah, me as well.
Johnny Murtagh.
Johnny Marc, that'd be my two. Johnny
But
Marc,
Frankie,
Mick Cannan.
Frankie, the longevity thing is insane.
And on a big day,
And to go back to your point then, Esther, I've often said this, I'll try not to sort of draw it out, but having seen Frankie at Royal Ascot after a day where he's gone naught from, he ended up being the leading jockey that year in 2019. He was not the Frankie that people see the
there's
public
two
face
very
of.
different Frankies.
Yeah, I was in the makeup room with him waiting to do some TV, and I sat next to him, and usually he's like, hey, you know, all that sort of thing, and you have a good chat, and how you doing, all that sort of thing. He didn't want to say a word, didn't speak to anyone
Exactly,
at all.
and that's when he's at his best, when he's on a roll and going for it. And I think that's where Royal
And
Ascot
that day
and
was the
Gosden,
day that he
it got
went up
worse
to
and
the
worse and
Britannia
worse
through the card.
Yeah.
Each race.
We've got
Yeah,
the
on the
lead-
next day in makeup room, hey!
Back to it again then.
yeah,
But also when he has a point to prove, like say maybe not in the moment when the races haven't gone his way like we saw that day, but also like when he came back for Lazoo, then when he had lost the job, had the time to sort of recalibrate
One
everything.
ride for that whole
Yeah, and
week.
then the one ride, that entire week, and then he comes back to prove a point. And when Frankie's back's against the wall, he really does show his best form as well. So he's kind of at either end of a spectrum in that sense.
Best jockeys then out. I can see some coming in the chat. Best jockeys, Patrick Husbands, says Okra Slush. There we go, look, brilliant. Does anyone know who Patrick Husbands
Racing
is?
Woodbine,
I'm afraid
you
no.
He is Canada's...
It race against Declan Carroll.
He is
rides at Woodbine,
Canada's
yeah.
Tom Marquand. He's like Holly. He's just so prolific.
Yep, just coming through the
He
ranks.
just,
Decent,
yeah, he's. You're right, absolutely. If you see P. Husbands next to a name, Okra, you're quite right. He's deadly. You'll see him at the Breeders' Cup on November the 5th, the 4th and 5th, of course. Yeah, love to see that. Talking about America, Luke Rawson says Hryhorskyj is the nap of the year tonight. Is it the American Grand National
Tonight is it then? Yeah,
I've seen him out
Global
there, yeah.
Citizen. Yeah, taking each other on then after Global Citizen disappointed at Worcester, didn't he, with that comeback run? But whether or
Of
not.
course, Ben's gone over for that, I think, isn't he? Yeah, Ben appalling.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Ben wouldn't miss a trip like that, would he? Keelan's been flown over first class apparently as well.
First
By
class.
the owners.
You might not get a first class trip back if he
No,
does.
exactly, if it doesn't go
I
well.
want to get Kieran to try and get in on
I
this. I
know,
saw him a nice
exactly,
winner
yeah.
in the week. I
And-
looked up at the screen, actually, by the way. Where was that? He was about 20 clear.
Oh, yeah, despite jumping violently to the left. Lord Sparky, the old boy, the wise old boy back at his favourite hunting ground of Huntingdon.
If you don't know, Kate's partner is Kieran Gethins. And what does the winter have in store for Kieran?
Hopefully,
Stuart
lots of good
Edmonds'
horses. Yeah,
string?
Stuart's horses then going well. I mean, the return of hometown boy, Touchwood, hopefully.
Has he moved yards
after
yet,
he missed.
Stuart?
Not yet,
Not
no.
quite
We were
yet.
discussing that beforehand, actually. He's got to wait
This is a big thing
till
for him,
next
isn't it?
season. Yeah, that's it,
Blimey.
because the land was sold. And so they've had to move premises. Luckily, a really supportive owner in the yard who's very involved.
Every one of Stuart's owners love him, don't they?
Oh, yeah, you
They're
couldn't
a real
not.
tight-knit bunch.
He's just so normal,
I will
which is
get-
rare.
I will get down for that Cheltenham preview at some point.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been invited.
You were
3
being
years in a
discussed,
row.
actually. David, can't remember his
Dave
name.
Shuttle it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
old neighbour of mine.
Saying he wants to get you involved.
Crazy man. But I will get down for that. So, yeah, big years coming again. So, Hewitt tonight, the Shark.
8 to 11 on the Betfair Sportsbook.
I mean, he's so far clear, isn't he? If you look at somebody else who's up against, I think there's one old Prescott horse in there, actually.
I think 8
Begins
to
with an
11.
M. What's that?
8 to 11 looks quite big. I think he's probably going to go for around 2 to 5.
Well, because he's a Brit, you see, you'll be able to get better odds out there, I would imagine.
That's some meeting if you haven't.
Good luck, Luke, with that.
Never been to that.
That's a head down job, I imagine, is it? Just hide behind the sofa. But Hewitt, what do you won there?
Moscato.
Moscato. That's the old Prescott horse. What's he doing
11-year-old now, the old boy.
You'll notice a lot of the names in there because they go over for the
Jack
quick round,
Fisher.
and it's so lucrative over there now. You know, it's
Yeah, the money at that. I have actually led up a winner at that meeting in the Phillies and Mares.
that should shock me, but it doesn't.
No, Lady Blanco.
Is that
a few
right?
years back for Leslie and
What
Paddy
a trip
Young.
that must have been.
It was wild. Paul Townend rode her.
Wow.
Yeah, got enlisted, led up a horse in the National actually. I can't remember the name of it now. Oh God,
okay.
Jamacho was in the race, but
There
yeah.
you go. Wow.
Someone,
Kate is always
he's out
in there somewhere.
Belfast banter.
For someone, oh yeah, of course he's out there.
What a few.
Belfast, but again, they went over there. Paid good money for him. You see, it's lucrative.
Belfast Banter was the biggest steal of a buy I've seen in a long time. Oh my word.
Cheap enough, you mean?
Yeah, cheap, so cheap. Proven Grade 1 winner, and
How
you
much
get
did they pay for Hewitt? Was it like £600 or something?
800 euro.
€800,
they
okay.
paid
The
him.
Shark back in the big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-1 for the Gold Cup.
Mark
Hewitt,
my words, if he
at the
stays
minute.
sound, he will be running in the Gold Cup, of course, in Cheltenham in March. But yeah, okay, we'll put the cooler on that for now. Next week we're going to give you Jumps fans. We're expecting numbers to go through the roof again during the winter because it's a different band, a different breed, shall we say, coming out. We've still got one more Group 1 to go, of course, and we've come with some Breeders' Cup for you and all that sort of stuff. But let's switch our attention now, shall we, to our penultimate race of the day. And it is the QE2, won by Baaeed last year. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. We're T-minus, it's an hour. We're on the hour mark.
Not long.
T-minus 1 hour till Baaeed. Perhaps before we go and look at Inspiral, just give us a Baaeed update, Mark. Where is he sort of trading? I mean, what are we talking? Because everyone will be doing the comparisons with Frankel. So let's see, because Frankel went off super short, didn't he?
I think people are
That's
getting
the
a
only
bit...
worry we had to Franco at last round. Would he come out the stalls and how far behind he'd be? Because he got slower and slower. Old Franco in his last few starts got a little bit recalcitrant. As Baaeed seems to be getting better and better.
But this is, he's got a derby winner against him and all that sort of stuff. So what
1.25. I think, obviously,
Game
the
over.
Franco comparisons people are getting a bit carried away, in my opinion.
Baaeed was 2-1, of course, when he won this QE2 last year. Palace Pier, you remember?
That was his toughest ever
was the
race
fav.
against Palace Pier.
The ground looks soft as well. I think he's going to have a race today, Baaeed. If he's going to get beat, today's the day. If he went to the Arc, he would have got beat, in my opinion, as well.
Close your eyes and Robbo's in the room. We can't get rid of him,
I
can
think
we?
if he went to the Arc, he would have got beat. I think it's very good placement from William Haggis throughout the season. He gets beat
Which
if
a
he
lot
goes
of
to the
people
Arc.
are ignoring. So, because all right, for whatever reason. Okay, all right. In Spiral, we are looking at 4 favourites in a row. If the Coronation Stakes winner hacks up, as I'm hoping.
We've got the Frankie de Tory momentum, and I'm wanting to hit the pink button here. I was hoping this thing would be around even money. Not really moved, 2.38 on the Betfair Exchange, 2.36 to back, so roughly around 11 to 8 mark. I think there's enough in this race to take this one on in Spiral, but I was hoping that it should go a bit shorter, obviously with the Frankie momentum. But we're going to stick with our guns here, and we're going to take her on, okay?
She might shorten on in the run up to the race.
Do you think we should wait till the show?
I'd
Wait for the show.
I'd wait a little bit because there's got to be some momentum in that ring when the Frankie factor goes in. Because I agree with you. I think she should be opposed. But the only thing I've got right, Hoydell got 5-day ban. That was the only
You
good
get
thing
5
so
days.
far. So.
Well, it's a very pleasing day for me so far.
But yeah,
I've
Inspiral.
not actually had a winner yet, but I've hit the
Yeah,
crossbar.
you've got a clock. You've done better than me. I can just about stay in your eye line.
I'm just putting that in front of you to annoy you.
Yeah, it was
At the
mine the
moment.
last.
Marc
the last show.
Hryhorskyj should probably be having it at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I understand,
But yeah, I'm in agreement. Inspiral. I just don't trust her.
No, what? Yeah, okay.
She's very good. But.
Why not? Come on, let's delve into this.
So, seeing her on the gallops, she's tricky. She's not straightforward. Didn't run all spring. John Gosden said he wasn't happy with her. She missed the Guineas.
Yeah.
She came back. She
Would she have won the Guineas? I mean, unfortunately,
Yeah, they would have watched it. I'm sure Chudley Park were absolutely gutted when he saw Prosperous Voyage, how well she ran. Came back to Royal Ascot and she was devastating when she was very, very impressive. And yes, the turnaround was too quick for the Falmouth, but she still got beat. It was still a below par performance back at Newmarket. Good back again in France. I just don't personally trust her. She's got a class to win this quite easily.
Is it something physical?
Mental.
Have you seen her? Have you seen her?
I'm just not.
Have you seen her in the flesh?
I have seen her. I'm just not.
Don't like her down at the start, do you?
No, I just think she's tricky. But
Oh my God!
so I'm agreeing.
Isn't it funny how these 1-1-1-1-1 horses? And I know she has obviously got
And
that.
she got beat,
Well, she has got
6
beat.
to
We
1
know
on.
why that
6
was
to
the
1
case.
on.
Isn't it funny how we still, because we're so stubborn. See the Stars was mine.
See the
He's going to get beaten. He's going to get beaten.
Different gravy, that one. See the Stars. Different calibre.
We'll be talking about that in the run-up to the Champions Stakes after this. But OK, so you're laying in Spiral.
I'm looking at
Barry is his big lay of the day in Spiral. Baaeed, he says you just sit back and watch the race.
Is she getting bigger? Or?
Maybe not for Marc Hryhorskyj, we'll see.
free place. He's 1.3 in Spiral. Does she blow up? Do we take a chance?
Are you looking at the place there?
Like,
You filthy animal.
I don't know. Again, I think she's too short. I think this is a good race. I don't think the race last time in France was that good.
I met images of Keith Melrose in my. He would have called you a swine of a man then for saying
I
that.
give him
No,
6
that's
to 4.
exactly what I think
I'd
of you.
give Melrose 6 to 4.
Yeah, Melrose will be back soon, by the way, guys, on this show. OK, in Spiral, what price is she then at the moment?
She's not really moved. She's 2.34 in the Betfair Exchange.
Kate, come on, give us some love.
No, for Inspiral. No, I'm
Yeah.
taking her on as well. No, and the other thing that counted against her, that Andrew Mounter again, Professor Mount put me on to, regardless of that quick turnaround then in the Falmouth, she was also massively unfavoured by the draw, even though it was only a 5-runner race there. It drawn in still 5. It was just saw her in. She wasn't ridden to optimal effect as a result because of where the draw basically placed her in that race. But Deauville, I wasn't impressed with her last time out. I thought she just clung on at the line there, and
Hang
we
on,
had the
hang on.
disappointments. Caribas disappointed within that as the favourite. He ran well below himself. State of Rest, well, he was subsequently retired after that because, of course, meant to go down, defend his Cox Plate crown, but he was then found to have an anomaly. That was it on the X-ray, so he couldn't go. They said
I don't usually associate you with shockers, Kate Tracey.
That is why it explained his below par run as well, and I think she just clung on at Deauville. So for me, I mean, going back to the Coronation Stakes form, that's the form that's going to get her to win this race again.
Hang on.
Okay.
She's beat. Hang on.
I know the Revenant's going to say.
So hang on a minute. What about Erevan, the horse? She was kicked on a long way from home by Frankie that day. And you always think when you go back to Deauville and that straight mile, you always think it's over, and then it always got that little bit more to go, like a lot of French races. She was very brave that day, I thought. And Erevan, the horse that was just touched off in third, has gone on and won.
But
With Daniel Wildenstein. Order of Australia, who somehow finished fourth, ahead of Caribas. He has finished third in 2 Group 1 races since abroad.
Poor group.
they're well beaten by Dream Loper
Don't
in the
be
Moulin.
sniffy
And
about-
I love Dream Loper. She doesn't get the
Don't
credit
be
she
sniffy
deserves.
about foreign Group 1s,
Don't
Kate
throw this
Tracey.
back to me. Don't back my words back against me
Shut
now.
up, pop at me if you're wondering what that is about.
No,
For
you
being
just
sniffy
taking
about
personal offence.
Alpinista and all that sort of thing.
Oh, there's German.
Yeah,
Group
just
ones.
the international Group 1 form. I know he's trying to use it back against me, but well played. But
3-year-olds have
it's
won
not
6 of the last 10. I thought you'd been going for this, Kate, I must admit.
worked. No,
So
not
who
at that
are
price.
you? So the lay button being pressed by Kate Tracey as well.
Yeah.
And who are you going to put up?
Well, you talk about Erevan, who she beat by half a length last time out. The
Yeah.
horse that finished behind
here we go.
Erevan on his most recent start, the Revenant, one of the coolest horses
Means
in
he can't
training.
beat in Spiral.
So he is solid. Solid in this race as well. Second in it in 2019, won it in 2020. Fourth in a much deeper renewal of the QE2 last year behind Baaeed, Palace Pier, Lady Bowthorpe. I mean, if those 3 were turning up in this year's contest, what on earth would the market look like this time around? And he ran a scorcher in that race. He's had a much better season than he even had last season, winning his first 2 starts in the spring. He didn't manage to do that last season. He had the typical French campaign, given a break mid-season, to come back for his autumn campaign again then, and he ran a solid race when he was third on his reappearance there. Behind Dream Loper, it was a reappearance. And then the second last time out at Longchamp in the pre-Daniel Wildenstein, he went so wide in that, came down the centre of the track. The winner, Erevan, cut to the inside rail, made a race-winning move with that manoeuvre, yet the Revenant was still able to close him down to the line. Been teed up for this. This has been the main target, the Revenant again.
You get the finish you might have backed
5
this.
to 1, yeah. 5 to 1.
Subtle.
This is Barry's play of the day as well. This is typical Barry Orville.
I'm with Kate on this one, mate. I think massively overpriced. Ryan, we're on board. Absolutely love the ground. You see how bad the ground is at Ascot. I think in Spiral, James is right. She's shortening up right now. She's 2.28. It's a little bit shorter. Maybe see if we can get matched around 2.2 around the 5 to 4 mark. But I think the Revenant's solid each way here. We bang there.
Right. These lot aren't with me. Let's see who is out there. Come on, let's get some social love. I reckon this has got our communities going red hot. The fact that I'm the only one that's here. Kenny Ritchie says, hoping Inspiral has a stinker. Hang on, what?
There you go.
Kenny, hang on a minute. Unbelievable scenes. Crashed out in the experts. Let's get this one right. Kinross, Emily Upjohn, Inspiral, then Baaeed by 4 lengths. Hoping Inspiral has a stinker. We're just getting to like each other, Kenny. And Sam Caney, here we go. Sam, one of my favourites, comes in and says, Dave, Inspiral is an absolute good thing. Lift her, Dettori, lift her. Sam, I've seen you in the chat since, Sam, going, what am I hearing? My ears are bleeding. The Revenant, please. Dan the Man says, I'll be baffled. If everyone is taking on Inspiral, says Dan the Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only thing I can say is good luck. Right? But I'm telling you guys out there, the only thing we've got to worry about is that the first 3 favourites have won. On form, she's won this. She's won at Ascot. She'll like the ground. She's going to come through late. She's going to sleuth through. It's not going to be a problem. Stall 9.
Should we suck on a wing?
She's not going to... It's fine. It's fine.
At least you've got the higher advantage.
It's not a problem. It is a wing. I'm not going to... it's not the one. I don't like the one wing.
Okay.
I like 9 of them, it turns out. Unsurprisingly. One more social. Charles Carter. Charles, good to have you back. Always talks a bit of sense, Charles. Trifecta, Inspiral, the Revenant and Tempest. And again, sticking to some sensical words there. What about modern games here, people? Let's talk about some of the others.
Oh, I love modern games, don't we? And we were talking about this earlier on, whether or not they run modern games here because of a trainers' championship, and whether or not Charlie Appleby is getting a little bit nervous.
Away.
We've got the Inspiral. Look at the Inspiral carpet has come through. This is strong, but I shall sport it. Worry not. Worry not. Don't worry. I'll be giving this the good one. You might have to call this, Marc. Terrifying as I know that is.
I'm not sure about that one.
Come on, sorry, Kate.
Why don't we get one? No, I thought I was buying you time. I thought I was buying you time to keep talking.
If there was a bit of blue on this, I'll tell you
sorted.
what, you could sell these. Marc Hryhorskyj loves the Cheveley Park colours as well as we know.
It's actually Cheveley Park then. Where's the blue?
No.
It's probably some filthy forest or there's an Arsenal supporter out there. No, you're soiling it now all of a sudden. Don't go there. All right, so come on, let's talk about him. This is a guy that travels so spectacularly. Hasn't really done it here though.
No, who's this Modern Games?
Yeah.
Oh, just his win. I mean, because I thought just Breeders' Cup. You're just going to go Breeders' Cup again there to.
Hell of a moment that, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? After he was a runner, non-runner, and was taken out of the betting because his stablemate supposedly kicked him under the stalls, let out the front of the stalls. Vets didn't know what was going on. Race officials didn't know what was going on. Put him back in, goes and wins. Everyone gives out. No one got their money on him. Booed back into the winner's enclosure. Didn't detract from the horse, so absolutely love him.
Yeah, it was magnificent.
Yeah.
It was so late in the day that a lot of people had just backed him, forgot about it, woke up in the morning and gone, what?
Wait, what? But I won. Yeah, but I didn't. I know.
Yeah,
and
it was so weird.
He didn't get the reception he deserved then. Don't think the ground's quick enough for him. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, all right, and you kind of get the feeling that they want a runner here for the championship going on, isn't there?
He's just so good on very firm ground.
Very firm,
yeah. William Buick, though, what a season it's been for William Buick. We'll be talking about him after this as well. We've got around about 8 minutes to go then. We'll talk about some of the others after Marc gives us an update on the exchange.
Does William Buick ride a quick double here? What do you think?
What do you mean William Buick ride a quick double here?
We've got Modern Games. We've got Addy next. What do you think?
Oh, I see what you're punting out here. A second fav.
I can't believe you're
quick
going
double.
to the anti-Baaeed sentiment for the
He
final.
just loves a conspiracy.
Right,
if he smells a lay, honestly, it's time to play.
Conspiracy in a drone.
Inspiral 2.3. We better get this lay on, okay? 2.3.
Yeah.
We're going to take Inspiral on the win. £25.
Absolutely.
34 liability to take this one on.
Again, we've got great numbers out there today watching. I'm sure a lot of you knew. If you're not sure, Marc is trading for charity in every race for Betfair, of course. You're learning about the exchange. This is what it's all about here on the show as well. Education, but we are playing for the Injured Jockeys Fund. He's got a couple of play stays right so far. I'm hoping it's not this one, though. Sorry, Injured Jockeys Fund. This money needs to stay in Dave Orton's pocket, I'm afraid. All right. So 3 against Inspiral here. Seems like the whole world is with me, though.
Oh, yeah. And
solid
Revenant.
6.9 or 5.9 now in exchange.
What about Jadumi? Let's talk about him. He's unbeaten this year.
10.5, 9 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange. Solid. James Doyle on board.
Did me a big favour when he went Goodwood. He saw a Finest Sound, who's obviously advertised that form fairly well since. Just Leopardstown last time. It was good to see him go over because there was no racing here, of course, because after the passing of Her Majesty. But the Crisfords have had a blinding end to the year as well.
Completely.
Strike rate at the moment.
Really, really good.
Could he be the pace angle?
That is an interesting shout. With the pace angle here in the 3 o'clock, let's get it up. Because you are, I guess, if you're on Spiral, you want to see an obvious front runner. And there aren't that many of them, are there?
Nope. There's a
Raderberg?
real lack of it. That's I thought.
Yeah, he could possibly go on. Big price.
Hang on, I'm getting-
Tempest has improved since they dropped him in, so I don't think Holly will be making the running on Tempest.
No, all right, hang on a minute. 320, that's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to get it up, guys, 1 sec.
Second challenge normally gets dropped in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Tom Siegel's put this up today
I
saying...
could see him going well.
Travels like a dream, that one. Checking
Can't go on quick ground.
Well, he's very keen horse, isn't he? Very headstrong. Do you remember when he ran at Sandown in that handicap?
Big field, yeah.
Horrible, wasn't it?
Ground was too quick for him at both Sandown and.
But he'll be near last, I would remember. What about Tempest and Holly?
He's improved since being dropped in.
He didn't get the rub of the green last time. Was it behind? It was by Mutasabek when that one, of course, that one bounced back when we all jumped off it.
When everyone tried to get off. Yeah.
Yes, in the Joel Stakes, of course. El Drama was in that as well, who reopposes here. But I don't know, I spoke to David Jennings about this yesterday on Watch Out when we did that, and we said, this is not a good race. She's leagues better than this. We expected her to go off odds on. I am surprised, Mark. The Frankie factory's on a treble here.
Just weak.
And I'm
She's
slightly
drifting.
worried about it.
Well, she's drifting. She's 2.44. Again, I thought she was a great layer, and even Money Mark were at 2.38. The Revenant more game solid around the 92 mark. I think the Revenant for an each way angle was absolutely solid. Was around 5 to 1, 6 to 1. This one was 7 to 1 on the Betfair Sportsbook yesterday. I think that was absolutely solid.
Who have you put up, James?
Revenant as well.
Revenant.
We're all
2 for the
We need
Revenant.
some red
Three.
scarves.
We need a winner. That's what we need. I get one here.
All right. Well, a word for Raderberg. Ammo Racing coming. I mean, they don't need the owner's badges, do they? But what's he doing
I
there?
think they like to have runners on the big stage if possible.
Yeah.
He'll like a bit of dig under the ground and Johnny Murtaugh. El Drama, of course.
3 lengths behind the Revenant last time.
Yeah. I mean, he was good in the Joel Stakes, I suppose. El Drama would come on for that, but he's kind of it's a free hit for them, really, isn't it? This.
Well, at the end of the season, you might as well give it a go, and even if you come fourth, 61, 5th 31.
Yeah, absolutely. Prize money,
nice bit of money down the line.
something to be celebrated today. And Bayside Boyd came good last time.
Bad race.
Bad race, but the second in it is.
Believer.
I quite fancy it for the Balmoral. Sort of hoping it wins the
Escobar
Balmoral.
third. It was a 6 to 4 on to win this race up to Group 1 level.
William was quite sweet on him. I spoke to him yesterday, but he's not on the draw. So it was good to see from the sprint that maybe we shouldn't worry about that too much.
Didn't look at it from.
Probably just where the pace is going to be,
Yeah.
isn't it? And
Yeah.
the jockeys migrated. So we've mentioned them all. Who do you like then? Let's get some more tips out in there for this. The Inspiral Lay is Mark's selection. Just remind myself what the spotlight is going for. Inspiral, Ben Hutton. So
Four.
favourites are going for
Four,
4 here.
Oh
My,
God!
my.
Surely
My,
his
my,
favourites
my.
have to get beat at
And
some
think-
point.
Barry's big later day in it in Spiral.
It is, and he's gone for the Revenant as well. And
What price does Baaeed go off if this one wins?
Future Horses,
Hands
Future
on?
Baseball, New
Yeah.
York. I'm hoping you are from America watching us. We get loads of international viewers. Tempest, is that supposed to be
Yeah.
Tempest? It is supposed to be Tempest. And is it being nibbled at Tempest? Course and distance win, of course, Mark.
20 to 1 at 19.5 on the Betfair Exchange. Drawn free.
Just fell out the gates a little bit last time, Kate, didn't she? But
Yeah.
we won't want her to do that here.
There's Tempest. Yeah, got slowly away last time out. But to be fair, like James said, they have been riding him further back anyway to get him settled. And he was keen enough last time out despite falling out of his stalls. So that is, it may not have been that bad a thing to have happened to him on that most recent start to get him into that position anyway. But yeah, that was a lesser performance from him. So he does need to bounce back. And again, he has the good firm form mostly to his name.
All right, OK, I'm scratching my head a little bit because I'm wondering why she's such a big price. Is this a horse that the market always loves, though? That would be a question.
In Spiral? Well, she was 11 to 8 on.
They love to run up an ultimate
When
style.
It was going to be the case, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, there was such a bad
because it was
Falmouth.
it was badly represented, the Falmouth.
Yeah, after
wasn't
the
it?
Falmouth that we got last year, which was unbelievable, and then this year was not very good. Yeah, no, and the form sort of, and you know, like I love Prosperous Voyage, but you know, she hasn't gone on from that.
No, a little bit. Yeah, no, she wasn't great in the Sun Chariot 2 weekends ago, was she? All right. So what do we make of this race? Just looking. Shall we have a little look and see what?
Modern Games is very strong in the Betfair Exchange, from 4-1. They're queuing up to back that one. Inspire's not really moving, 2.36.
Trying.
Have we looked at the times of the race today?
Yeah, 3.92 then. So yeah, for the long distance, slow by 3.92.
It was slow by, you mean?
Yeah, slow by 3.27 then for the sprint for Kim Ross.
Yeah.
And 3.76 slow then.
So we
for
are
the
talking
Phillies
about
and
good
mares,
soft
so
ground.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And it's
fine.
better ground on the going stick on the, well, as we tend to expect on a straight course.
Let's see what everyone else is thinking
Yeah,
out
time
there.
was
Come on, let's
surprisingly
get some
slow
more.
for the sprint.
Yeah, of all of the ones, that was the...
Slow by 3.27 for the 6th furlong.
Shows you they didn't go that hard then. Rohan will be, I'm sure Adam Kirby might have come in and gone,
They haven't,
we live to fight another day, you know. All right, Luke Rawson. This is interesting. Good topical point, this. Right on point, Luke. She drifted like a barge, and didn't she, just before the coronation? That was her seasonal debut, of course. In fact, what did she go off there? 130, something ridiculous, wasn't it?
Not quite
And
that big.
she basically won like a falls-on shot.
Bolted up. That occasion.
No worries here. Just get some more on, says
It
Luke.
was 15 to 8.
Fair enough.
15,
I think the reason why people love this day so much is because we know all the form.
Oh, yeah, no one's just
we
popping
know
up
all the
for
horses,
the first time in a
and the
year.
market has obviously got it right in every single race so far. Of course, Baaeed form, isn't it? Of course, Modern Games.
Yep.
So,
He wasn't that far behind the Sussex. Baaeed wasn't really.
which I'm seeing that deep down,
Yeah.
wherever you are, deep down, has said in capitals. So shouted this. Second to Baaeed.
Yeah.
With a 1:30 time form rating. Oh, Macbeth. Modern Games, go on to the Breeders' Cup. We don't talk about those ratings here, dear boy. But we take your point. It is like See the Stars, again Macbeth, where with the horse I just couldn't get right.
I suppose one against in the UK we don't actually see him because he's in the Sussex was the only time he's run in the UK since.
I just remember after the Sussex, I remember talking to Barry about this when Charlie was interviewed after, and they're going in, by the way. He says, I wish I'd have run Caribus in that, looking at where Modern Games finished. So perhaps that tells you what Modern Games is. But yeah, you're right. When they don't have something like that to face, they often go and win other races. Away we
what's
go
happened here?
then.
Oh, and you don't want to come out the
Inspirer has
stalls.
absolutely walked out the stalls.
Dear,
What's happened there?
You've
Thankfully,
completely
they're
ruined
crawling, and Frankie has got her back in the race. What happened there? Marc,
don't
let's come
wanna
to you
go.
then.
She's not even favourite now in running. She's out to 5-2.
What is Fav?
Modern Games 9-4.
But there is no pace on.
No,
so
no
you
pace
got a
on us because
little
we
bit of a
saw no
salvage.
front runner. That's actually helped her, believe it or not, because she's got
Yeah,
that
she's
fine.
keen.
Bayside Boy wasn't great away either. Also out the back, check and challenge. Now he's settled well. Look out for a strong finish from him. Radeberg, didn't see him out the back. The Revenant in midfield. Holly happy with Tempest sitting around about 4 lengths off.
James
Modern
Doyle.
Games has been taken back into third because he was a bit keen early. El Drama up there, and as Kate punted out, Jadumi is in the lead. 5 furlongs out, Marc Hryhorskyj.
Jujumi's 9-2 in running here. Bet for SP 10.5. Getting a real easy lead here. Settled well. Could he nick it from the front?
Modern
Inspiral's out
Games,
to
you'll be happy if you
7-2.
backed him.
I can't
Frankie's
believe what I'm
very
seeing
weak,
here.
7-2.
And Spiral is last. Oh, no, I knew she was going to be out the back. So perhaps don't panic, Dave. And when are they going to start coming back in for a Marc Hryhorskyj?
Yeah, she's 11-4 now.
Has Jadumi got a freebie here, guys?
He couldn't have had it any easier.
Yeah.
Couldn't have had it any easier, says
Modern
Millman.
Games
Millman.
is in the
I'll tell you what, now Inspiral's coming, how much does it cost them at the finish? We will find out. Jadumi's
right.
going for it. Modern
Start
Games is
winding
look
up.
happy on the ground. El Drama, I'll tell you what, the rest of them are in trouble. I'll tell you what, all those from behind
Frankie's
are
beat.
struggling here. Frankie's coming for her, but she doesn't look good, does she?
Frankie's beat.
That start, she's just not on her A game here at all. In fact, Frankie's given up, she's hanging a little bit. Oh, my Lord, guys.
What a
All right, then the
disaster.
front runners have got this. Look at Bayside Boy on the
Bayside
far
Boy.
right. Check and challenge to Tom Siegel coming. Modern Games is
Modern
toughing it
Games,
out.
Bayside
What a
Boy,
trouble.
Tom Marc
Look
on
at
over the
Bayside
top.
Boy, this is the
Oh
nature
my
trouble.
God.
Remarkable,
right.
unbelievable scenes for the first time here on Racing Post Live this afternoon. A huge shock, as Tom Marc says, don't forget about me, guys. I'm one of the best jockeys in the world. What a ride. Roger Varian has struggled all year to get this horse right. Cue a gamble now in the Balmoral, that's for sure, on Sweet Believer, who finished second to this at Sandown last time out on her return. That comes up at 4:40. Watch the gamble on that, guys. Modern Games has run an absolute blinder from the front. Is it Jadumia's hang on?
Jadumi, yeah, that one went quite short and running. It's a good ride by James Dobb, but no excuses. Had an easy lead.
Let's talk about the favourite, Marc. Tell us the story of her race.
She lost at the start, and he's the one you wanted to take on. Probably should have placed later, but listen, we nicked a wee bit of profit in the win.
Yeah. Damn scarf, Dan Walsh! It was Arsenal after all.
Yeah.
A wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, the winners actually hit 400s in running on the Betfair Exchange. I'm not sure how that one's happened.
The three in front had an easy lead, and they were quicking away. Cracking effort. Headgear's clearly transformed.
Yeah.
What has happened with Inspiral there? She's never done that before, has she?
She's horrible. I've told you. You see her
Now you're talking.
now
You
the
weren't
adjectives
prepared
are
to
coming
say
out
horrible
now.
before the race, Millman.
on the heath. She whips around. She's tricky. And Franklin himself, his last run in the Champions Stakes, he barely got out the stalls, and that was the concern with him going on. She's just got that negative.
Are you suggesting that's it now?
It's done, yeah. You wouldn't be touching
I wouldn't want to have her back in again. I'd quit way ahead.
Yeah, and that was that, wasn't she? She was hanging a little bit towards the end as well. All right, the favourites won't be going through the card then, that we can say. Bayside Boy. I bet Robbie Wilders was with it. He's been championing this throughout the season, of course. Ran well in the St James's Paddock Stakes at Royal Ascot. They put blinkers on it last time, and the way that's cut them down off a false pace.
That's where you upgrade the efforts. If you look at
His native trail form, he was a Dewhurst-type candidate last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was good 2-year-old. He hadn't grown very much. From
He didn't look like he was the biggest there by a mile.
It just looked like he simply hadn't trained on to the same level, because he beat Reach for the Moon in the Champagne as a 2-year-old. Hit his level in the Dewhurst and that's a cracking Group 1 for the Varian team.
It's a tall order now, said Nedster, after the start there. You just can't do that at championship level and expect to win races, Marc.
Jadumi's been done at 1.25. James Dog gave that one every chance. £500 on it.
1.25?
Yeah, around the 2 to 9 mark. But yeah, I think Bayside Boy was a game winner there. And Spiral, I don't think we'll be seeing her again.
Yeah,
What about
fresh
that
legs at
again?
the time of year and comes into the race off the back of a confidence-boosting win. All right, there we go. So Roger Varian takes out the race on Champions Day, which is always good. We love Roger Varian. He's one of the most helpful guys out there in the training ranks to talk to. He targets these Group 1s every year, and of course this was the one meeting where he pulled it out last year with a Sharda. He would have gone blank apart from that. I wonder whether this chap might go to the Breeders' Cup.
Quick round, a bit of worry.
Would it? Yes. Is he a new bay?
He's
He's a new bay, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just very soft at Sandown when he won that listed race.
Not for his champagne as well, and only good on his novice win. Yeah.
There is the Keeneland. You can get funny ground. When Golden All got beaten by Found, it was much softer than they thought it was going to be out there. I seem to remember it was all choppy, horrible turf basically, which hopefully we won't be seeing in Kentucky coming around. There is the result then of our penultimate race here this afternoon. Time flies when you're having it, that's for sure. And the QE2 2022 goes to Roger Varian and Bayside Boy. Blimey. Modern Games, I guess, we'll talk about the form in just a sec, guys. Modern Games, I guess, is your benchmark. Maybe Jadumi. And Check and Challenge is proving himself Group 1 horse because he settled well. And again, he came with a rattle. And if you're Tom Seagal fans, which a lot of you are Tom Seagal fans, you've got another big price place there for price-wise, that's for sure. And Tom did pretty much what he said he would. All right, so let's talk about the form of this, because if Modern Games doesn't like the ground so much, he's got to have a right chance if he turns up then at Keeneland, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'd say, look, the form is probably not strong Group 1 form in the end, because Jadumi was only supplemented late for the race, but I think Modern Games are in a cracking trial for the Breeders' Cup. If you look at the results, the Revenant didn't pick up. He was with Inspire. He did disappoint. But in the end, I think that's a cracking effort from our win. I'm surprised at how well he picked up in the headgear. It clearly has transformed it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And like I say, all hail Roger Varian. David Egan will be a bit surprised that he wasn't on that, of course, because he was riding El Drama, which was the first string, wasn't it? So Tom Marquand, the recipient, gets his championship race in the bag. And is there a more reliable jockey than Tom Marquand?
He doesn't make mistakes, can he? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
David Probert, coach in the first. David
Yeah.
Probert, I like him.
Exactly, doesn't make mistakes at all.
But he's super strong, isn't he? They call him Tom the Pom down under, which I often refer to on this show because they love him and they don't love a lot of British jocks.
He did a successful stint in a couple of seasons.
He stayed down there, yeah, and
Baaeed.
he was winning grade 3s on a Wednesday and stuff like that at Warwick Farm. And yeah, they really, really like him down there. And they loved Dave, the classic tussles that he had with Very Elegant down there. And Tom, they'd have him down there at a heartbeat. And like I say, they like to knock our jocks quite a bit. It's a bit of sport, really.
But then it's the same. It's easier for us to knock international jockeys when they come over here. And
it's hard to argue, though, James, over the last 10 years, they haven't had the best jockeys as a collective bunch. I mean, Hugh Bowman,
over in Australia,
Damon Oliver, obviously James Mack, the Rawley brothers, who's the guy that's in Hong Kong that wins all the races, Zach Burton. Whether you're Kiwi or they just have outstanding jockeys. Because it's the way they have to do it all to the clock, I guess, and they have to, and now that the weather's been a bit more intermittent, shall we say? I mean, there's floods at the moment down there.
Yeah, I saw Yulong Farm.
If you watched the Caulfield Cup this morning, which went the way of the ex-Simcoe course, Durston. Do you remember him? He was like a sort of Ebor horse.
Yeah.
Up here, Simcoe trained him. Highclere kept hold of him. And he went down under and he won the Caulfield Cup there today.
See the moon.
Yeah, and it was
His
terrible
handicap
ground
mark
down
97 when he left.
If you've
the
been
UK.
following your Aussie racing during the week, they've been talking about this great Roman wall that was built next to Flemington and next to Caulfield. And if it hadn't have been there, they were sort of like,
it would have flooded.
they were putting pictures of what might be the case, and it would have been all underwater. And so look, what I'm saying is that they have.
That's for their buying policy, because actually just looking at Durston's form, he's had 5 runs in Australia since August. Good to soft, good to soft, good to soft, soft and good to soft.
And that's what I mean. The tide is turning a little bit. The weather is different down there, so they're not just all round a circle like a dinner plate, sort of in the clock. They have got extremely good jockeys down there. And the fact that Tom Martin, Karen McAvoy, Hugh Bowman had a great stint up here as well. I'm sure there are loads I'm forgetting as well.
All the girls
of
as well
course,
that
all the
they've got.
girls,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Amy
what we're
Carr.
talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Michelle Payne.
The one I always remember is Black Caviar. Remember she nearly got beat. You
Luke
remember that?
Nolan. Luke Nolan, who wouldn't be one of their top 10 jockeys. I don't want to say that Tom Creedy wasn't, but Luke Nolan and Tom Creedy have a lot in common in that they're known for one horse. And Luke very nearly got that wrong.
Terribly wrong, nearly.
Oh my Lord. But look, great memories, and we're going on. So congratulations to Tom Marc on his wife's won the first. They'll be happy.
Well, they had 2 each, didn't they, 2 years ago?
Yes, of course. Name them. Trushan, obviously.
Glenshire.
Yeah.
He had
Adabe and
he won the handicap.
I missed the question
there's
again.
a quiz question out there. 2 years ago, when Trushan broke through with Holly Doyle, she rode Glen Shiel. They both had a double on the card. We're missing one
On this card?
on this card. So is James. I mean, your reputation's staked on
I'm
this.
sure I read an article recently that they had 2
Because-
each. It might have been 2-1.
Let's get the social up while people Google that out there. And Vincent comes on. Welcome, Vincent. David Egan wouldn't have won on Bayside Boy. Tough old claim, that. Tough old claim, that. David's had another fantastic year, considering he lost the Mystery of Ride.
Yeah. How that could have turned, couldn't it? And then to come win a St. Ledger.
This year, if you like, for jockeys will be Rob Hornby.
Yeah, I'm good to see it. And how he held his head above the parapet then as well, and didn't make any comment, held his class about losing the ride on Westover then.
Rab
To
Havlin
get it
getting his
back.
Group 1. Talking
Yeah.
about holding your class, the Lancashire Oaks, when he spoke so well
Yeah.
afterwards, and a lot of jockeys were, I'm sure when he got back, he was massively frustrated and steam coming out of his ears. But, of course, he won the race. But he was nearly put over the
Rab's
brim.
his temperament is like, whether it's high or low, it would be the same Rab. Whereas Frankie would be the total opposite.
I picked up the phone once to him on the news desk. He was livid about
Oh, when
an
your
analysis
clients.
It wasn't actually mine.
Is it not yours?
I was like, I hate to tell you this, Rob, but I didn't write that. But
Not to
but
blame.
he no fair play to him. He in the end, we sort of, you agree to disagree. But
Great man has appeared.
He is.
oh, we can see
can't
Barry.
escape him.
Barry's there.
In the brand.
Wind is blowing then at Ascot as the great
nice
man,
coat, isn't it?
unflappable.
Yeah.
He'd be loving the fact he's got Inspiral right, the blackguard.
Yeah.
Along with these guys in the studio.
Yeah, you
so
Didn't get the winner,
Get
though.
that away from you.
I was doing ever so well.
Don't
that
taint
away,
it.
get
Yeah.
that
Look
away.
at this, there's a reminder. Look at the great man making his way. Look at the postcards. We've even given him, look, with Bruce Millington every Friday. Don't forget it's still out there. This is the original show, of course, the postcast. And I think that's a picture when Bruce was still Ed, wasn't it? He's probably out there watching Crystal Palace play. Bruce Millington coming back onto the show soon. Hold that thought. Next month, you'll be seeing Brucey back. And, of course, a reminder, at midday, every Friday. Oh, 3 p.m. Sorry, every Friday.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting lazier, them boys out there, big time. Not that they've got enough to do, is it? But it is, of course, fast. I can't read that. What does it say? Fast, no nonsense breeds. I did one actually.
Do you want to borrow?
I did it. I owed him. No, I
Fridays?
don't. I've got them. Don't worry about it. It's just this, the monitors in here. They got smaller and smaller. I don't know what it is. They're winding
Oh
me
yeah,
up,
it's
I
the
think.
monitors that got
I did Bruce a
smaller.
favour
Yeah,
recently, and I did a postcard. I tipped winners left, right, and centre on it, by the way.
No praise
don't be
like
surprised.
self-praise, is it?
Don't be
Dave
surprised.
Orton?
No, as we know, trumpet. Let's not go down the trumpet route again, James. I don't want to make the bloopers reel with you this year for that reason.
Njord was the Tom Marquand Balmoral winner.
Dum,
Ah,
ba-dum, bum, bum.
Njord,
He
Jesse
was
Harrington
right. Well
sauce.
done. Well done. All right, great
Jesse,
stuff.
yeah.
We're building up half an hour, by the way, to the final race of this afternoon. It's only the Champion Stakes and the greatest horse that we've seen since the mighty Frankel running. Oh, he's not convinced, the drone
I don't know,
pilot.
he's
We'll be getting to this.
Sacrilege.
Absolute
These comments.
sacrilegious, isn't it? What do you make of it? But we're talking about jockeys at the moment, and I've lost my train of thought. I don't know what's going on about there. What were we saying? I've lost it. I looked at Hryhorskyj. He's getting excited about this.
Well, we were talking about how good the Australian jockeys were. Best UK jockeys.
David Egan,
Oh,
coming back slowly.
Yeah, Brab Havlin.
Rab Havlin,
jockey revolving door policy.
yes.
Christoph lost his
Talking
job.
well. Christoph Simeon, man.
Yeah, hasn't that been like when we spoke about highlights of the season? It's sort of my mind first and foremost. One of the leading stories from this year, my mind jumped to, was the mixing up of jockeys lacking then the ending of their owner retainerships, losing the rides on certain horses, like I've never known a season like it. I actually tweeted this the other day. I sort of made a list of all of the partnerships that were dissolved that we at least were made note of. And God, I tweet a lot, don't I? Goodness me.
Well, Rosser and Amo was the strange one because
Yeah, that was
Rosser
very
kind
odd.
of terminated it in the press before it did get terminated, and now he's back riding quite a few of them anyway. They're all made up again.
Are they
so-
officially back now? Or is it just sort of...
Not officially, I think it's just...
but he's riding him again. So we had Sylvester D'Souza and King Power at the very start.
Yeah.
David Egan, Prince Faisal. Andrea Azani, Sheikh Mohammed Baaeed at Maktoon.
Wow.
Ross Orion, Amo Racing. Christoph Sumion, Aga Khan. Callum Shepherd with the Gredleys. And that's not even noting about jockeys losing rides
Sounds
on
like my
horses.
football team.
Sounds like your manager's history.
Well, it's getting a bit
A
more
revolving
like
door.
the football manager aspect, isn't it, of the sport? It's
Yeah,
very much...
cancel culture. Buzz term.
You know, just
They've tried, Kate. Trust me, they've tried.
blame. Someone's got to be blamed.
Someone's gotta be
and
blamed.
That's the answer. Blame the
Falls on the
jockey.
jockey. Yeah.
Right, let's draw some breath. Let's draw some breath. I'm getting quotes in from left, right, and centre about where horses might go and all that sort of stuff. But let's build up, shall we? I mean, look, never before will a Champion Stakes have been talked about quite so much since the mighty days of Frankel, because Baaeed, here he is, the greatest horse on turf. We've seen him many, many a year. One of the greatest careers I've ever witnessed. I said to his trainer, William Haggis, yesterday, he said, I'm a little bit nervous, but I am excited. I asked him about the one poke. He said, what can we do? Can't do anything about the weather. Can't do anything about the draw. We're just going to remember that we've got the best horse. Marc Hryhorskyj, what's the play?
Like, I think he's too short. He was 1.25, he's out to 1.28, roughly around the 1 to 3 mark. I think Adair is obviously interesting, 10.5. But there's one that, when I was doing my notes last night, I was quite keen on McSweeney in the each way mark. He was 100 to 1 yesterday.
Stop it.
He's into 40s now, but I think the play is to back him in the 4-place market. He's currently around 7 to 2 in the 4-place market. I mean, I think he ran well in this race last year. Had Adair and Mischief in behind. I mean, handles conditions, handles the course. I think when I put down my notes, he was 100 to 1. I backed it 100 to 1. He's 40 to 1 now on the Betfair Sports. But I think for the place angle, 4 places, 7 to 2. I think that's value. I think Baaeed's too short for me, especially in this ground. If Adair turns up and is ridden prominently, turns in a proper stamina test, I mean, is he going to be able to get Baaeed off the bridle? If he is, then what's going to happen then? I can't see anyone tanking this at 1.27. Listen, he might bolt up, but I just think he's too short at 1 to 4. So the play, we're going to back McSweeney in the 4-place market.
Let's just say that again. You might have to say it 4 times before people actually realise that the screen's not gone funny.
Because obviously the each way angle's gone, because he was 100, he's into 40s now on the sports, but we're just going to back this one 4.5 in the 4-place market just for 25 quid. Nick a place, so hopefully Sosloy doesn't do the business, but again, I think Baaeed's too short. We'll have a trade on McSweeney just to place in the top 4 at 7 to 2. I think that's value.
Right, let's remind ourselves that McSweeney's actually running here. I'm being a bit harsh, aren't I? But it is an angle that's it's a very Hryhorskyj way of looking at things.
Will you give me 5 to 1?
What in the place
in the
market?
4? I'm
not getting. Listen, you work for for Betfair, mate. You don't need anything from me. We're building up some socials out there because there are some brilliant ones out there that I'm looking forward to getting onto screen. Right, so you're not laying Baaeed then?
I think he's too short. I just think there's a bit of value there at 4.5 with McSweeney.
This could have been your moment.
He's checking out.
Yeah, listen,
this could have been.
We have the argument.
This could have been. This could have been deputy. This could have been apprentice and sorcerer moment.
You've not asked me yet what I think of Baaeed in the form anyway. Obviously I'm not backing him. Obviously not at that price, but I just think there's been.
He will be in multiples all over the land.
Yeah, absolutely.
Though, people have just stuck him in, to get
most of them are beat anyway if it's spiral, aren't they? But yeah, I just think a bit too much hype. 1.27, he can win for me. We'll take 4.5 McSweeney in the 4th place. It's a value bet.
Of course, he's got to have a debrief with Baaeed after this, and Barry just said at the top of the show, Marc probably was listening very intently to that. And I bowled him a curveball as we were walking in. I went, we're going to get Barry on the show. He went, are we? Has he seen my lucky 15?
Yeah.
But of course, Barry said, look, just enjoy it. The atmosphere will be rocking now at Ascot for sure. And again, let us know where you're watching, guys. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to see it. Hopefully it's party out there, party all the way. We've celebrated the horses so far. We'll talk about our best performances just on the run up to this as well. We've got time to do it. Of the day so far, what we're very excited about, what we're taking home with us, all that sort of thing. But let's just get the tips out of the way, shall we, for this on the panel. I think Baaeed in the without market is the one. I'm good. Adair's been on the slide, hasn't he, Marc?
Adair, he's currently 10 to 1, 9 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange. He's shorter on the sportsbook.
Let's look at the place market because that's often which tells us, he's well fancied to come in the places, isn't he?
1.61. I thought he'd be short. I think he'd probably be around the 1 to 2, 2 to 5 mark. He's notably weak. Could he potentially blow out after that run? I think this is definitely going to be the toughest test.
A lot of judges were telling me yesterday Adair as 4 to 5-ish in the without market was a right old bet yesterday. I can't have it. I've got to be honest.
You want to see him go forward and be ridden prominent. You've got the man at the moment, William Buick, on board as well. Stone
Age probably lead. McSweeney might be the one that goes. Well, no, we've seen that making the pace in the race in the last contest is certainly no bad thing when it looks like there's none on because your catch horse is at it. We've got to be thinking that Haggis has got 3 in here as well. We'll come to them. Of course, the win market, because Adair is so short, all the other horses will look inflated like you can see there on the screen. I mean, Baaeed, you ever think you'd ever see him this season coming up 16s? But I think he's the horse without. I'm hoping that the fresh angle is the one. I like his drawing 4. Of course, Ryan had to ride for Aiden here on Stone Age, so Richard Kingscote, like he did on Nostrum, is the lucky recipient of the ride. No problems there, Desert Crown Derby, I'll refer you to.
11 to 4. 11 to 4, Baaeed in the without market.
That for me is really good value. Sir Michael Stout says, the Master, it's a tough race against a world beater and last year's Derby winner. They're the top 2 ahead of him in the market. But it's the Champion Stakes, so it's entitled to be. After the clips, we had a hiccup with a foot problem. He shaped like he had a problem that day, didn't he? But he's fine again, and we're looking forward to it. The Prince of Wales Stakes would probably be my biggest disappointment.
Your memory because you were
it's
so
horrible.
strong, weren't you?
I do remember. He's even giving himself a stretch with that one.
Dave Orton.
Twitter loved the fact that me and Robbo were just like, we're visible, we're vulnerable watching these races when we tip them in all sorts of shows. You can't hide it,
you
print and all that sort of stuff. But look, I'm not suggesting he didn't quite come up to expectations, but we know that was a silly run race. The Prince of Wales
Stakes. You can make excuses
for
him.
And perhaps this ground would be ideal. Now he's a new bay. He won at York last week on last year. I think the fresh angle, I love it. I think he's coming amazingly, slightly under the radar. And if he was I heard that he was doing things with Desert Crown, which would put them way ahead of everything else at Freemason Lodge, which obviously makes a lot of sense when we see what they've gone and done. But go back to his Sandown win over Mostadaf, who's proven himself to be, proper.
It's world beer back then, wasn't he? He's even money for the 3 here.
He should. This is. Yeah, that's a lovely bet, I think. But we've got to hope that, of course, he's ready to show his A game. I think he will be. And again, even each way against Baaeed, you're going to get the place money, aren't you? So for me, Baaeed without is a lovely bet. James Millman.
So I'm going for the angle that any horse that tries to beat Baaeed is going to get very tired, and horses that are ridden perhaps to pick up the pieces are the ones that are going to prosper each way. My Prospero and Dubai Honor. Team Haggis.
Prospero.
These two, look, they're not good enough to beat Baaeed, but I just think ridden quietly at the back of the field, if Adiyar goes off hard to make it a stamina test, to try and expose the stamina of Baaeed, which I think they tried to do in the Juddmonte at York, they might then tire inside the final furlong, and those that are ridden 4th, 3rd, stroke 4th could end up finishing a little bit better than perhaps they should, and even do a Haggis trifecta. Baaeed
was put to the great man yesterday.
Either of the two of them.
And he said, we can dream.
You can dream.
I was giving a quiet ride at Kempton because when I was on that time, he was giving a poor ride.
It wasn't an ideal ride.
Zero chance, did he,
at
Kempton in the September Stakes.
You know, they did try with Mischief, but I don't think Mischief turned up. Disappointing at the Arc. I don't think the form's great.
In group discussion yesterday at the Post, we were talking about the horses at the bigger prices, one that might come in. We were almost guessing the price-wise type thing. And he's the one, because he was second in it last year, yes, in a weaker renewal than this, but
ground for the first
time. We said he's not quite as soft as ideally wanted, but he's a very good horse on his day. Yep. And I bet they travel with him later on, because he's endured, like a lot of horses, the soft ground horses, they couldn't run during the summer. William even made a cheeky comment that the horse in training cells are going to get bargain after bargain.
Yeah, you will do. Because
look at you perking up. You'll be there.
My hand will be in my pocket. But
oh yeah.
Interesting, he didn't go to France. Dubai Honor.
Came for this, just waited for this.
So
he would have had his options over there.
I think he'll run better than the price
The
suggests.
Doyler's on, which is, it's James Dodd and William Haggis, and the cheap piece are on for the first time. I like him as one of the outsiders. I think I would put him in my top 3. My Prospero, very much next year's horse.
Yep.
And Williams, this big hole, I said, Mr. Haggis coming in the stable. Could this be the guy that starts to help to fill it? And very much they're hoping so. Big horse, apparently. Watch out for him down at the start. And when Williams says they're big, they're probably, capable of jumping.
Do you think this is the worst ground Baaeed's faced to date so far? The softest ground? Most testing Baaeed's faced to date? I think it was in Longchamp, because it does look like soft now.
We will start to hone in on possible negatives for Baaeed after we get some socials coming in. I'm going to enjoy this. Tom Barra says, Adiyar, definitely the best horse Baaeed has ever run against.
I agree with that.
Palace Pier, but Adiyar?
Palace Pier, over the mile.
You said that earlier. You're sticking to that.
I'm sticking 100%.
Yeah, but listen, he came back, didn't he, in that Mickey Mouse race, if you like. But even the horse he beat that day, the balding horse, Masekela, they'd still rate him, and he did. It's sometimes you've got to judge with your eyes, haven't you? And he did still look like a very powerful individual.
Piece of work, wasn't it? Really.
But it was an impressive piece of work.
Bullied up, yeah.
And he's not. This is coming in unlike last year when he was stuffed in the race, Tom. You're right. He comes into it totally fresh.
Yeah,
he's going to be one to.
The Champions Stakes is not a good one, is it?
Yeah. Well, they were going to go to the Arc, and then they looked at the ground, didn't they? Of course, again, the right decision by 2 horses, I think, to come here. Edward Leach comes on. Edward, welcome along. Haggis wins training title with a win here, no matter what Adiyar does. Pretty much will put him very close to winning it, Edward. That's for sure. We'd love to see it, wouldn't we? We'd absolutely love to see it. The unassuming hero, wrote Pete Thomas, one of our great wordsmiths at the Racing Post this weekend, and it was absolutely right. All this massive hype, he's just played an absolute blinder. Paul Bakewell comes back on and says, Bay Bridge unbeaten on softish ground. Aye, here's another new Bay.
Even money
This could be a
for
new
free,
Bay double with Bayside Boy.
Yeah, I could see a
Who
good effort.
who holds New Bay? Do we know? Is it Chubb?
Bally Lynch.
Bally Lynch, yeah, of course. Who've got they've got some big irons in the fire, haven't they? I'll come back to that. They've got a couple of others down there as well at the moment. Adiyar is okay. Andy Sims, comes back on. Forecast. Oh no! He's with the pilot. Baaeed to beat McSweeney.
Is that a reverse or a straight?
Oh, cheek, that's not on.
Andy, love it. And that was actually just as you were saying your trade. It wasn't Andy reacting to what Marc said. He's kind of with you. We picked that one out. And have we got another one out there? And Big Pundit says, he's had a good day, Stone Age will set a relentless pace here. Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit disappointed with Stone Age.
He's running good races, hasn't he? He just hasn't been up to
Wasn't he
the
fat for the
calibre to
Derby,
win
wasn't he?
those.
Didn't
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
over the
Because
Derby.
he didn't have anything any good in it, did they, Bally Doyle?
He didn't half look good when they tried him really highly as a 2-year-old. He was one of the best maidens coming into this year.
Yeah.
And when he won those 2 trials, especially the second of one, he looked quite relentless. He will go to the Breeders' Cup, I think, when he being Peter
those
Brandt
owners,
horse.
you'd imagine so. He went over to America and got beat, didn't he? A couple of times.
But definitely a pace angle, I think. A big bundit for you out there.
Yeah, he's a pace angle, so Adayar's not going to have to do his own hard
Yeah,
work.
but they've got no one to really... He's a pace angle, but he's actually been ridden not as a pacemaker for Luxembourg today, so there's no advantage for them to go really quick.
I can't remember who said it, but when the McSweeney things was coming on, someone in the chat said, "Has this guy been tested for something?"
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Let it do the talking, let the racing do the talking.
We've got some Lasix going on today.
Ask him if he can give me 60s, okay, in the 5th-place market. Ask him, all right?
There's some great socials coming in. This is the time, is it? We're building up to the big one. Our final race of the day. Welcome along if you're just joining us. Where have you been? Unbelievable scenes so far. What have we got going on now? 2 more socials after Kate gives us a tip.
Oh, I was just going to say your Bally Lynch was Lope de Vega, Make Believe, New
Lope
Bay, and
de Vega.
Bolgeist. Yeah,
There we are.
that was it. Yeah, Lope de
That's
Vega.
it, Lope de Vega. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was trying to find the angle, so I've just gone with the forecast. I'm being so boring in here, but I don't want to see Baaeed beat, so I don't want to cheer against him in any sort of way.
But?
So I've gone Baaeed Adayar for the forecast, as
What does that
as
pay, Marc?
straightforward as it is.
What,
Yeah.
Baaeed?
Let's
Baaeed's
talk about
going,
forecast, shall we?
For our forecast, then Baaeed to beat Adayar, because I think Adayar has too much class to blow out within this. I don't think there's any bounce factor, 37-day turnaround, and it wasn't really a hard race, was it, at all, at Doncaster that he faced? So don't think there's a potential for blowout. I think that was just a piece of work for him. Hopefully they will turn it into the stamina test. He'll take the lead from Stone Age, force the issue. He will not want to be done for a turn of foot because Baaeed is faster than him. Anyway, I think the ground, from what the times are showing us on the round course there, is fine then for him still. Either way, but I think that Baaeed is just going to be too good for him regardless. Baaeed is a great horse, but Adayar very, very good anyway, so I just think that he'll beat him in second.
You can get Baaeed to beat Adayar 5-4, or you can get Adayar to finish in the top 3 at 1.63. I think the 3-place bet is probably the value.
This is Injured Jockey Fun time.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting you in the hot sauce here, Marc, but come on.
Baybridge, even money as well for the 3. You like a bit of that, don't you?
Look at you. You know you can do some damage on these shows, can't you? Marc?
Yeah. But yeah, if we can get Max Sweeney in the 4, that's what we want to finish on the day, the profit.
Let's get some socials back up. SC comes on and says, "Hello from Winnipeg, Canada. Howdy. Home of Ashibola Downs. Baaeed first, McSweeney second, Adayar third. McSweeney is 32 in Canada right now. If you forget about the Whirlpools, great that you're tuned in. We will absolutely tell you what's going on through the race. If you can't get a picture, no worries there. Winnipeg, Canada. Anyone ever been?
No.
No, I'd like to though.
It's Robway territory.
That is
Bear
isn't it?
territory.
Yeah.
Not at those
You
prices.
spent the whole
anyway.
summer there, man. Would you believe it?
32s,
Yeah,
100s on the exchange.
You go where the prices
One
are good in
more's
the
up.
world.
Get the value.
Andrew Kong comes on and says, "Oh, this is an interesting question. Slightly off piece, but I like it. We haven't got long left on today's show.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
that's not a question.
Kyprios or Baaeed for Horse of the Year?"
And I love Kyprios, but
I was only Baaeed.
yeah.
Ask me in 10 minutes.
Ask me in 10 minutes, says Marc Hryhorskyj. Brilliantly played, sir. Quite right. Andrew Kong, but Kyprios has been a...
Unbelievable. He's a freak.
Thank goodness for Kyprios.
Yates
Next
Mark
Yates.
II.
Yeah, exactly.
Yates
Yates
Mark
Mark
II.
Keep winning and keep winning it, keep winning
What did he get for the Cadran?
Well, it's
Talk
impossible
for
one their
itself.
race with a 42 length win.
What did we give
Where
him?
he gave away how many
Go amongst
lengths
yourselves.
as well?
They could have gone 150.
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you think about the opposition, I suppose. You've got to be careful. Oh, my goodness, 128, which means he's now better than Yates.
Ooh.
He was so
Or did
impressive,
Yates have a
wasn't he?
128?
No, better than Yates.
No, I don't think he did. I think Yates was a 126. I've done
Yates
all
never,
this.
never flashy, was he?
I've done all of this with Aidan recently. He's 126, yeah.
Ooh,
He's now
sorry.
usurped. And Yates didn't win the Cadran.
My favourite
Got
horse,
beat
Geordie
hard.
Land, would
That's
always
the one
come
that
there on
came
the bridle, and Yates would just pull away,
Memories.
find nothing,
The
you know.
king. Yates.
Geordie Land, yeah.
My favourite ever analysis was writing up his 4th Gold Cup. What I did for the. I think I said the king. I think I called him the king. It's the only time I've ever done it. Did it with Frankel.
Didn't do it for Franco.
Really?
I
What
did,
do you
I
call
managed
Frankel?
to. I did one of Frankel's races, but I think it was probably one of the early ones. I would have called him. What would I have called him? The Messiah
Yeah, say what nouns would you use?
or something like
Yeah,
that.
the
Listen, you've
Messiah.
got to gush sometimes. Quite rightly so.
Was Johnny on that day? They were having a real sort of good spell ballad at that stage, weren't they?
Yes, Johnny
Dominating.
Murtaugh was in Mick Cannan and then Johnny Murtaugh.
They were
Yeah,
dominating
from
that
memory.
there, weren't they?
Again, I was there that day, and it was just unbelievable scenes. All right, we're building up by time. So with 8 minutes to the race, highlight of the day so far, Kate Tracey.
Coltrane and Matrushan, first race.
Brilliant.
Yeah, ding dong.
You
Battle.
love a stained tussle.
I really do. I do. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, it just gets the heart pumping, doesn't it?
A couple of
from the
flights in
way
there
out.
and we'd be in dreamland, wouldn't we?
Exactly, yeah, if only, yeah. But yeah, that's so far for me the highlight.
Love it. James Millman.
We got Phillies related to Kinross and Bayside Boy, so that's the highlight. Both of those two winning.
Kinross.
Increase the pound signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, Kinross was magnificent as well, wasn't he?
Easy. Travelled like a dream, dropped back to 6. Drop and trip was not
I
a
think he
problem.
got beaten on his return at Haydock.
One of the horses of the season for sure,
Yeah.
Ross.
Absolutely,
Bang
yeah,
there.
we'll be seeing him at all the awards dues later on.
Yeah.
Marc Hryhorskyj.
Probably Emily Upjohn. Got it wrong in the place day, but good to see her back. She bounced back.
Nice.
Probably the highlight of the day, yeah.
Showing that you can be diplomatic and absolutely.
Yeah, no, she was impressive. I wasn't expecting that. But
All
it's
right,
good to see her
okay.
back.
There we are then. Highlights of the day so far. You can tell us yours if you like. Is it still to come? Well, let's have a look at the Balmoral market. That's something I wanted to do because obviously Sweet Believer was only just beaten by Bayside Boy last time, and she was quite easy to back for Adam Farrah and William Haggis. Marc, where is she at the moment?
I'm just checking the market for you just now.
Why is Marcon not chosen?
11.5.
I would wager that it's probably an owner's thing, and I would wager also that Adam Farrah is. Where are you?
Stall 20, taking £5 off.
It's the 5. If you remember the Lincoln, I know Tom was Tom away for the Lincoln. He might have been in Dubai.
Tom was in Dubai.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Tom's only actually ridden Sweet Believer once, to be fair.
But Haggis knows with these £5 and he really rates Farrah as well.
Yeah.
He really does.
But Bashkirova's the favourite.
But Bashkirova is the class dropper, I guess, and it's a form angle now, isn't it? You know, there will be somewhere on course. Haggis would have been not only getting away from everyone because of the pressure for this, but people would have gone up to him and said, you know, you've just had a massive form boost for the Balmoral, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He loves talking form, William does as well. Absolutely one of his
And
favourite
Montefarm is the lead
pastimes.
horse for Baaeed.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's got potentially drawn.
Having a day out today because
But
he's
you know
been
he'll
used
be
up
fit.
all season.
Absolutely, he was quite lukewarm on him, which probably tells you everything you need to know. All right, Royal Champion. We haven't mentioned about him. We've got to talk about the other, well, I don't want to call them the also rounds because they could well pick up some place.
Bayside Boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. You can Glennie beat last time, of course, in the Doonside Cup. Didn't look good that day.
Bolted up.
Absolutely bolted up when he's right. A very good horse, and Rog on a double. And Helvic Dream, of course, was a Group 1 winner. Can you remember who he beat in his Group 1?
I've got it in front of me.
I do, because it was a painful. So you might like to talk about it.
Broom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Short head as
I
well.
had a fair old go at Broom that
Why
day.
would you do that for?
What do you mean?
Broom.
We got beaten a short head, so
Broom.
I wasn't far off being right, was I?
Let's have a look at what price.
Oh, he's one of my favourites, Broom.
Oh,
11
yeah.
to 10 on, and you went
Love
in.
Broom.
You went in hard.
I just adore him. Not often you get to back these older horses of Baaeed.
I thought he ran quite well at Longchamp. He's only beat 8 lengths.
Hardwick winner, thank you.
Just meh.
Yeah, very, 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 very disparaging comments there from Millman, unsurprisingly.
It's one of your favourites.
He is. Of course he is. We love these old horses that come back, don't we? Absolutely. So after this, we will, of course, be switching our attentions, guys. You know what is coming up. The winter of our discontent. It is now, a lot of people are saying out there, but the jumpers are going to light it up for us, guys. The jumpers are nearly here again. And a reminder, the big jump off, you can get it in your Monday paper. Monday's edition, of course, the free pull-out. 72 pages, unbelievable scenes. Tom Park, he'll be back on the show hopefully soon. And then we'll be doing our video version. Should be coming around about 6 p.m. Monday. Don't miss that. It's going to be amazing. We'll get some exclusive interviews, of course. And there we are. As if by magic they'd have gone, hang on, that wasn't in the running order, Dave.
Yeah, he is.
We got the best in the business sat there in the gallery, Will and Dan. And it's out there. And it's free, like this show. We bring it to you free. We want to be with you every Saturday, guys. That's the plan in 2022, hopefully 2023 as well. That's all being ink drying and all that sort of stuff at the moment, and no pressure, Betfair. But it's time, and we'll try and bring you more, I think, next year. We've loved this flat season with you guys. I mean that. It's an absolute pleasure to be sitting here. This isn't work, really. I mean, I've got to sit with the likes of you know who. But,
Always a pleasure, Dave.
Always a pleasure. Oh, Voldemort next to me. That's low.
That is a low blow.
Okay. All right. So, listen, it's been a brilliant flat season. Jim Crowley, Shadwell, unfortunately, the sad passing of Sheikh Hamdan. Hisser has taken the mantle. It was great to see a picture of her looking so interested, by the way, at sales.
Big time for the sport.
Thank God, because those colours are something we all
spending money again, getting Phillies.
Yeah, looks keen, doesn't he?
Boosting the lines.
Where does Baaeed rank in the all-time list of great horses?
Well, this man over here is not a fan, is he?
Are you talking to me, are
We
you?
better not ask Hryhorskyj.
Well, I hope I'm not being referred to.
Is he the best since Frankel?
Since Frankel.
Since
Definitely
Frankel.
since
Is he
Frankel.
better than See the Stars?
No.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's just the fact that See the Stars could show it over further. That's why we wanted him in the Arc.
But
Yeah.
So he
thank
could then
God for the
show it.
Juddmonte, because we can now. A lot of us was saying, and a lot of big judges here at the post were saying as well. I'm not convinced. He's not beating a decent horse. But then we saw what he did at York,
It
and
could
he put
easily
himself.
Stuck in that mile division, and today beat
Yeah.
Big Side
He's
Boy.
he's a legend now, isn't he?
And he's travelled as well, winning to travel over to Longchamp as
He
well.
has.
So he's at least got that
He has.
there as well.
Which
but,
a certain F word didn't.
Yeah, didn't. Exactly. So each of those horses that we just mentioned, three greats, Frankel, Baaeed, See the Stars, they've all got something that the others don't then
It's
have.
not nice having to. We can agree that Frankel was the best, right?
Yeah, he's
Yep.
out there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Freak, yeah.
Stratospheric stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose his problem is that he didn't come to hand soon enough.
How lucky
Yeah.
are we to have been around when
Some
these
greats.
horses
I
were
know,
racing?
completely. I mean, you think about it, Baaeed didn't even make his debut till, what, was it 3 days after Adele won the Derby? Like, that's quite mad now that they're facing off here. And like you say, it's a fact that he didn't come to hand sooner, but we know William Haggas doesn't rush his horses. He gives them the time that they need. So maybe that's why people have been wanting to knock him, because we haven't seen him for as long as others.
I was pointing at my ear there because I had the gallery on live then as well. So that was actually open talk back. Hang on a minute, there are limits. So I could hear them as well, probably talking about all sorts of things. They will have their angles in this as well. Who wins this race, guys? Obviously Baaeed. What about who follows them home? Dan and Will, the public are waiting to hear. Give us the forecast as Baaeed goes in looking an absolute picture. You're just happy with Marc's take on Baaeed?
Excuse me.
You want? What is your take actually on Baaeed? I want to hear more. Oh, look at Haggas, there he comes walking
That's
out.
not a nice
What
feeling
is the
for
take on Baaeed? You with Rodway?
I just don't think the form is that great from York from this bell. I like See the Stars where I think it's difficult to compete with that 3-year-old campaign. He's beaten proper Group 1 animals, See the Stars, over multiple distances in that campaign. Done the Arc.
And of
We'll see what he does here.
Of course, it's his daddy, of course. So
Yeah. I just think honestly, I think he went to the Arc. I think he would have had a proper race. Might have been runnable. But we'll see what happens here.
all right, this is it. The moment's come. Good luck. Hold on to your hats and away we go. Adiar perhaps not the best away. What is his name? McSweeney. It is McSweeney. I had to look at him. I'm still surprised he's running it. Marc
he's
thinks
keen.
it will come second.
He's keen.
Stone Age, as expected, Royal Champion up there as well. In fact, there's a bit of a go for the lead on here. Baaeed well placed just off them. Potentially they don't want to know the far rail, guys, which
Giving
is
himself
interesting.
some room, Crowley, isn't he? There, making sure that he's
My
not going to get a box.
Prospero ahead of him, Adiar ahead of him. There's Baaeed, then upside
very
stablemate
keen.
to buy honour.
He's very keen, but he's drifting on the Betfair Exchange right now.
He's keen in the run then, but they're all
they're
keen,
not
aren't they?
going very fast.
They're all
Ryan's
keen.
just starting to stack him up in the front. Unlike normal in Stone Age, he's actually trying to ride a race on him to kick off that then.
He's what you would call full of himself, I think, if you were doing the comments in running. So he was not quite racing freely, but he's definitely taken a keen hold. Baaeed sitting in third, keeps catching my eye. Let's look for Adiar then, Kate. Where's he?
He has just been taken back off of heels there. He sat in about third and he's just been reined back, happy to take a lead, got a space so on either side of him, travelling well within himself.
Oh man, I'm actually getting a bit nervous here
I'm
because we
so
all want to
nervous.
see
Do
this.
you think he's trying to keep Baaeed in here?
He's trying to keep one eye on
Well,
him.
this is what we said would happen from stall one. The jocks aren't going to do him
Yeah.
any favours.
Box
And
him in.
Jim has been caught on the inside at Ascot a couple of times in recent years. So look, you can see, I don't know, but surely James Doyle isn't going to keep him in, but definitely Will Buick is
Adiar's
having a
got
look.
quite keen.
Adiar's far
By
too
the way,
keen.
he's
Now-
weak. He's
now
two's
let's
on and running here.
Okay, here we go. Baaeed is going beautifully. And I'll tell you what, just
comes
Royal
Adiar now.
Champions just stopped like he's been shot.
What's happened
All
to
right,
Royal
okay,
Champions?
we're getting for it now. My Prospero's right up there. Now Jim's looking for the run.
He's
And
trying to
James
get the
Doyle,
space,
he
trying to
might
get
be the
the
one that
space.
keeps him in. Now he's got his run, the great horse, but
Oh,
it's
come
Adiar
on.
that's taking
Speak to
it
me.
up.
Come on,
Baaeed's going to have to
come on,
go for it.
Baaeed.
He's running away. What's the
Come on,
point of
Baaeed.
running here? He's got to tell you what, he's
Speak.
down to
Come on, Baaeed.
3.5. Oh,
Come on,
no,
Baaeed.
come on, Baaeed. You can
Speak.
fill your
Come on,
lungs.
Baaeed.
Baaeed is
Good.
on the inside. Adiar. Here
Baaeed.
comes
Come on,
Baaeed.
Baaeed.
Can he do it over the top? I don't think he's going to do it, guys. Oh, my Lord.
on,
My
Prospero.
Prospero's
Here
going
he
to
comes.
do him. This is not the Baaeed we know. Baaeed on
Go on,
the inside,
Prospero.
though. Baaeed is
Baaeed's
coming
beat.
again.
No good.
What a race this is. But he's not going to go out in a fairy tale. It is going to be Baaeed that takes it out from, looks like my Prospero somehow has finished second ahead of Adiar. Baaeed not even placed.
Should have laid him. That was my chance. No good.
You had your moment. But
Yeah.
I cannot believe what I've seen there. just because it's horrible to watch, isn't it? Look, I've got the Baaeed Bridge money there, but I just...
He's not even in the free there. He's been done at 1-25 for a place.
OK, all right, let's pick the bones out of it. Let's talk about the story of the market first, Marc. Wow.
Yeah, I think Adair made that big move under William Buick. This one has went as short. I think this one's went quite short. It's went as short as 2.3. That one had a BSP of 12.5. The winner, Baaeed Bridge, 16.6. Even money for a place. It's a cracking bet, wasn't it? I mean, My Prospero's run a big race as well. But the discretion was right for Baaeed. 2 furlongs out. He was off the bridle. Look, quite a tactical race. I mean, he's came up against some proper Group 1 animals here, and he's been found out, hasn't he?
This is why this show is the place to be right now, because we're picking the bones out of it. We're saying what some people can't. Let's go to the ride first and foremost. Nothing really could have done else.
Still one steady pace. Baaeed Bridge was in the perfect place. Not much more Jim Crowley could have done. The problem was he didn't pick up. The only way he was actually going to win was stamina. Then he really got there at the end. It wasn't a travelled nicely and it didn't pick up.
He's had to do something he's never had to do before, right? Which is really go for that 6th gear.
I think the ground was against him as well. He's had to proper battle there against Group 1 animals.
Right, Kate, what are you thinking? You're looking very intently.
Oh, I'm just deflated.
Yeah, well, you're echoing the world out there at the moment, I think. But a lot of people saying great for Stout out there, says Stephen Loftus. Baaeed Bridge each way, Paul Batewell. Al Park says, I talked him into it, a late night bonus, happy days. He should have just went for the arc, says Nesta, serves them right. That's ridiculous. Too soft out there, I'm seeing as well. The bookies are very happy. Who said too soft? Chris Hall, too soft, too soft.
Ground, yeah.
A word for Graham Rodway, I'm sorry to say it, but he got absolute pelters again in the week for just basically writing a balanced piece and saying, I just don't see this being good for Baaeed at all. The ground, you have to say, has not been great, but it's not easy at Ascot to sort of mow down horses that aren't stopping, is it?
They've gone steady and they've sprinted off that bend, and we saw that in the mile and the straight track. My Prospero has run an absolute stormer for William Haggis.
Massive.
Yeah,
I think
he will keep the fires burning a little bit. William's going to be on the floor about this, and rightly so. He's just not used to it. And oh man, I feel for Team Haggis out there. And it's
the form was there. Like the Mishra form at York wasn't great. He tailed off in the arc. The ground factor as well. He was too short. 1-4. He's
finished 4th, Baaeed. If you're just tuning in,
three,
this is look. We're trying to tell you where your money went. I think you have to say, yeah. Interestingly, Big Pundit says that Ryan has done his job properly on Stone Age. He's just run flat. Luke Rawson says not good for racing, and Andrew Conn comes back on. Listen, look, it's Andrew. Listen, the world hasn't collapsed. It's about to, but it hasn't collapsed yet. Nothing, all horses come back safe and sound. So we can start to have some fun with this now. Look. So, let's revisit the Kyprios.
Too soon, Andrew. Too soon, Andrew.
You spoke too soon on that. Marc shrewdly kept his counsel.
Yeah.
And look at the pilot. All the drinks will be flowing tonight in Hryhorskyj, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the win lay was probably the bet. The place lay was probably a bit too optimistic, but I think,
wow, what price? I mean, what price would Baaeed to finish out the frame? What was he in place lay?
1-25 in the Betfair Exchange for the 3.
The panel owes Marc an apology. That's what the producers are saying.
I can't do it just yet.
Yeah, we'll have to wait a year for that, if it comes at all. Guys, you're looking at the screen there. There is your Betfair SP.
16.6 Baaeed Bridge.
I mean, I said it. Let's now concentrate on the winner, which of course we have to do. Richard Kingscote, second Group 1, second championship race of Sir Michael. Sir Michael, great performance to get him back. He's settled beautifully. The fresh angle you have to now think with the horse is huge. If you remember, there was a long time between the London Gold Cup and his York win last year. It all looks... They'll put him away now if we see him again. Because, of course, Ballylynch Stud, I think, have now got a bit of him, haven't they, as well? I think he's the next one going there.
So I knew Bailey and he bought into him.
Yeah.
Just everything went perfect for him.
James Wigan is a big fan of the Breeders' Cup, but I wonder whether they go there because of the fresh angle.
Yeah. Fresh angle, ground as well then.
Job done today.
Job done.
Why would you bother going back to the well again then on the back of that?
Let's hope we see him again next year because he's a lightly raced horse. Do you think so?
I would say so.
Too valuable now.
They've got so many races they need to get back. Prince of Wales was one that they want to get back next year.
And dry summers and things like that, yeah.
But just looking at when the race slowly run race, Baaeed has a run below form, but from that position, which was always going to be ridden, it wasn't going to be easy for him, and he just wasn't good enough on the day.
There you go, absolutely. And look, you'll find out in your members club, you'll find out in your analysis here at the Racing Post exactly what the post-mortem was. We'll get all the quotes from William Aggis. It won't be easy, but we will. The Balmoral is still to come, but this is where we sign off, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure today to have you with us. It's been a pleasure of a flat season. Who knew we'd be ending on such a note as that? It's not easy to do these shows, so well done if you've stuck with Bay Bridge. Well done if you've gone through the card with everyone out. It's been a great day. Marc, it's been great to have you back.
Yeah, it's been good.
You've taken the banter well and you've ended on a high, man.
Yeah, listen, it would have been good for Baaeed to do the business, but obviously just got found out. Emily Upjohn's probably the highlight for me, bouncing back. Obviously that disappointing run.
Yeah.
Got that one wrong, but good to see her back.
There's a huge month coming up for Betfair, so Barry's going to be on course quite a bit, which means we'll see quite a bit of the drone pilot.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Good to see. I'm going to see plenty of Kate, no doubt, as well. Kate, thanks again for today.
I'll bring on the jumps now on the back of that note.
Now we're done, aren't we? I think
now
after
I'm
that,
deflated.
all the headlines are going to be rewritten, by the way. So
I was going to say everyone has 3/4 of their article written. Quick,
No front page.
I'm glad I'm broadcasting today rather than writing. James, good to have you back.
It's been good. Like I say, end of the season, poor Baaeed. One run too many.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Never mind, never mind. You got many to run still this season?
Ours are like Baaeed, tired.
Yes. All right, so back them all then, basically, because we know what that means when he says that. All right, fantastic stuff. Thank you to you being out there. Thank you to Dan and Will. Sterling job with the graphics. Great talking about the 2-year-olds in the gallery as well. I've been Dave Orton. We'll be back next weekend. Yes, Cheltenham, it's coming back.